The year was 1969, and that was the year that the New York Jets upset the Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl III. 1969 was also the year of the Miracle Mets. They defeated the Orioles in 5 in the World Series, and in 1969, Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon. The #1 song was Aquarius, and in 1969, the Cleveland Browns defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh by a score of 24-3. That was the last time the Browns were to win in the city of Pittsburgh, but that game was in Pitt Stadium. The next year, they moved to Three Rivers Stadium, where the Cleveland Browns have yet to win. Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Jones. This is Jimmy Seflo. That may be the longest jinx in the National Football League.
It probably is. I was here at one of those games, 1971. I was sitting up near the flagpole at Three River Stadium, a great seat. French, if you call rush for 131 yards, and the Steelers won 26-9. Who would ever think it would have lasted another 14 seasons, though?
And the Cleveland Browns have tried almost everything to break the jinx.
Nearly. Last year, they brought some dirt from Cleveland Stadium. They brought it here and threw it around Three Rivers. That didn't work. They've stayed in 3 separate hotels in 3 years. They've come by bus. This year, they came by plane, and nothing has worked.
They've even said they may fly to Cincinnati and take the boat up sometime. Now, with these two teams meet, though, you can throw out all the records because it's really for bragging rights.
It is. They're playing for that piece of turf, the bragging rights between here and Cleveland, about 100 miles. So it's a very important contest for the players and for the fans of both cities as well.
And even with a slow start, they are both still in the Central Division race.
Right. The Steelers at 1-3, a terrible start, but if they win today, they're right back into the contest. And Cleveland needs to win to stay atop the division.
Marty Schottenheimer, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, with their record, as you saw, of 2-2. And Chuck Noll, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, with a record of 1-3. It rained last night, heavy at times, drizzling this morning about an hour ago. The cloud cover cleared away. The sun is shining, and it's a perfect afternoon for football. As Cleveland is kicking off, and that is Matt Barr to put it in play as we are underway at Three Rivers Stadium. Chuck Sanders on the return. And he returns to about the 24-yard line. A story all in his own. Number 45, Chuck Sanders, as we look first to the offense. Mark Malone, number 16, with Abercrombie, Ernest Jackson, Calvin Sweeney. Lewis Lips is scheduled to start as a wide receiver, and Preston Gothard is the tight end. We'll just have to wait and see whether Lips is in there or not. Penny, Rinstra, Webster, Long, and Ilkin, that offensive line. Abercrombie. 5 yards to the 29. It'll be 2nd down and 5 as Ray Ellis makes the tackle. We'll look to the offense of the defense of the Cleveland Browns with Reggie Camp, Bob Golick, and Carl Hairston, the front 3. And we'll see Banks, Johnson, Griggs, and Matthews, the linebackers. Minifield, Dixon, Ellis, and Rockins in the secondary for Cleveland. 2nd down and 5. Ball game just underway. Pittsburgh with the ball at their own 29-yard line. And the give is to the second back through, who is Abercrombie again, 34-yard line. This will be a first down. First down of the ball game as Eddie Johnson makes the tackle.
Mike Webster, number 52, in the middle of your screen, just coming off the injured reserve lift, going against Golick. A nice block by Webster. They're excited about it today because they're very good friends in the offseason. And there's a rivalry going on, but you see number 52, Webster, handling 79 Golick to start the contest this afternoon.
First down, and Ernest Jackson gets the call. And he is dropped at the line of scrimmage for no gain. It'll be 2nd down and 10 as Chip Banks is there to cover him for the Cleveland Browns. Ernest Jackson with Philadelphia, with San Diego, a 1,000-yard rusher. The knock on him has been that he can't catch the ball and he can't block, but he certainly can run with the ball, no question about that.
He can, and he's a typical Steeler back in one sense that he runs tackle to tackle very well. Not very fast, but a very strong runner. And with that trapping offense of the Steelers, he plays a vital role. At least he did last week in their win over Houston.
2nd down and 10. You look for the pass, so David Hughes comes in. Ernest Jackson comes out. He's a better receiver. Lone to throw. The pass is complete, and it's David Hughes, formerly of the Seattle Seahawks. He pulls it down at the 40, a gain of 6 on the play, so it'll be 3rd down and 4 as the strong safety Ray Ellis makes the tackle.
Malone has come under a lot of criticism here in town. He's only completed 40% of his passes. A week ago in the warm-ups, he lost Louis Lips before the game started. John Stallworth is out of the contest. But the important thing is, despite having another poor day as far as percentage is concerned, he came back and he won the football game. If there's something good to be said about Malone's performance so far, that's about it.
3rd down and 4. Rich Ehrenberg is in. Abercrombie comes out in this offensive set. And Ehrenberg takes the ball, showing motion, takes the handoff, has the first down, breaks it at the 50, and comes down inside the 45-yard line of Cleveland. Lockett at the Cleveland 44, and a first down. Chip Banks really saves a long gain, but it was a pickup of 16 yards.
And that's exactly what the Steelers have to establish today. Cleveland has fallen off as far as their defense against the rush. Here's one good reason. They don't get any support along the corner. There's number 74. That's Terry Long with a good block. And Ehrenberg up through the middle, usually a guy they go through in passing situations, makes a nice run there.
Jackson and Abercrombie back into the offensive set. It's a first down at the Cleveland 45. Opening drive of the ball game. Louis Lips showing motion. The give off is inside to Abercrombie to the 41. So it'll be a gain of 4. 2nd down and 6 as the inside linebacker Anthony Griggs, and the leading tackler for the Browns this year so far, makes the stop.
Andy Griggs has gotten a lot of work. Of course, he replaced Tom Cousineau, who was released during the preseason. One of the reasons they've had trouble trying to defend the rush this season is because they have new people in the middle. Ray Ellis is brand new at one of the safety spots. Chris Rockins is new there, and Anthony Griggs, and they have not yet solidified in order to stop the run.
2nd down and 6. Malone gives off to Abercrombie. We'll call it the 37-yard line. That's 4, so it'll be 3rd down and still a couple to go for the first down, as Ray Ellis, a strong safety, was there for the Browns.
Abercrombie may have played his finest game as a Steeler a week ago, and the coaching staff and I think everybody is wondering, can he put 2 games back-to-back? He's been injured often enough. He's very quick, but he has not shown the toughness that they wanted from him, taking him in the 1st round. There, he looks like a tough runner. He gets upfield, and again, the spotlight is going to be on Abercrombie today. They want to know if he can put back-to-back big games together.
And he's still bothered by a hip pointer. He comes out. Ehrenberg comes in to join Jackson. And it is Jackson. First down, Pittsburgh. 27-yard line, gain of 10 and a first down as Chris Rockins and Hanford Dixon make the tackle.
Jackson is on a mission. When Buddy Ryan cut him at Philadelphia, he said, trade him for a 6-pack. It doesn't even have to be a cold 6-pack.
Boy, that's a cutting line.
That is a cutting line. And he was released, even though he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. So he does have something to prove. And there he does a nice job, as we said. A tough runner, not a great deal of speed, but anybody who rushes for 1,000 yards twice in this league is a good one.
Louis Lips in motion. And the give is to Ehrenberg. And he crosses the 25. We'll call it the 24. Give him 3. It's going to be 2nd down and 7. Very pleasant afternoon. We expected to see rain, and the clouds have blown away.
2nd down and 7.
Calvin Sweeney goes wide to the far side. Lips is in the slot. Preston Gothard is the tight end on the right side. Very conservative offensive drive. And Jackson is cut down at the 25-yard line. So now it's going to be 3rd down and 8. The ball at the 25 after a loss of 1. Clay Matthews was there to make the play, and that means that Malone will have to go to the air. Weegee Thompson comes in.
And actually, Terry Long, number 74, his old lineman, knocks him down. Watch this, the pulling guard, number 74, and Jackson just trips right over him. Long slips first, and Jackson goes over the top. That's the easiest tackle that a Cleveland defender will ever make.
3rd down conversions, 3rd and 8, and the drive, the Steelers are 2 of 2. Malone to throw. There's time, and the pass is incomplete. He was looking to hit Ehrenberg, just drifting across, but he was way short of the first down. Chris Rockins had picked him up on the coverage, and now it is 4th down and 8, and that means that Gary Anderson comes in with a field goal attempt to come.
Ehrenberg wanted a flag here. Let's see if there's any interference at all. Not really. He turned around and tried to go back to the football, but that was Rockins, number 37, coming across. I don't think that's an interference call at all.
From 43 yards away, Newsom to hold, Anderson with the attempt. And it is no good. It is no good from 43 yards out. And by the way, snapping, it was Mike Webster. We've got a timeout. We have no score. Cleveland and Pittsburgh back in a moment. In the other games in progress, the only score thus far out of those three, New England a field goal on top of Miami. Like the scores here. And now, these are the games we'll be keeping an eye on this because of Cincinnati and Houston. They are scoreless, as we are here in Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Those two games, of course, with these two teams comprising the Central Division race. Cleveland on offense for the first time from their own 25-yard line. Ernest Biner is the remaining back. And Kozar gives to Biner. And he'll pick up about 7 yards. Mark at the 32, and it's going to be second down and 3 as David Little makes a tackle. Kozar with Biner and Curtis Dickey expected to be the other running back. Langhorne, Slaughter, and Newsom are the receivers. At offensive line, Bolden, Farron, Babb, Fike, and Cody Risen. Second down and 3 at the Cleveland 32. And we expect to see Cleveland with the same type of offense as we saw from the Steelers. Very conservative, stay on the ground. It's going to be a push and shove contest. Ozzie Newsome still in motion. And Kozar ends up with the first down at the 36.
And that's a fumble that Cleveland fans have bad thoughts about right in this stadium a while ago, a year ago. As a matter of fact, the fumble was a key element in continuing that losing streak. There you see the ball pops up. A bad exchange between the center, Mike Babb, and Bernie Kozar. But had he played, he gets the first down anyway. At least very close to it.
They're going to bring the chains out for the measure. Last year he was in a shotgun, as I recall, and turned around because of the crowd noise. The crowd was so into the ballgame. And he wanted to call a timeout, and meanwhile the ball was snapped and all kinds of interesting things pursued.
Right deep in his own territory. It wound up with a poor punt after that, and the Steelers came back, scored a touchdown. They wind up winning the football game.
First down for Cleveland. So the scramble works out this time for the Browns. And let's look at the defense of the Steelers with Willis, Dunn, and Nelson showing as the front three. Merriweather, Little, Cole, and Hinkle the linebackers. Sheffield and Clayton on the corners, Shell and Williams at the safeties. Spotted at the 35, so a first down at the 35-yard line. No score between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. With 7.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Biner the remaining back, and Kozar to throw. Has good protection, scrambles a bit, and it is intercepted by Chris Sheffield. That is his first interception. A flag is down, and Sheffield is down. The rookie free agent out of Albany State. The penalty will be on Keith Willis of the Steelers, and that will nullify the interception. Dick Jorgensen is the referee.
Offside, number 93, defense, lined up in the neutral zone. Still first down.
Well, that's a terrible mistake.
Oh, it is. Well, it's a terrible mistake for Willis. Kozar had gone 131 throws without tossing an interception before this, and now, of course, he takes it back because of the penalty. But he's been very, very careful not to get the Browns into a big mistake with a bad throw there. Early in the contest with his own defense, he threw it right to Sheffield, right in his hands.
He was looking for Fontenot. First and 5 at the 40-yard line. So a break for the Browns. Biner with another flag down. He has the first down at the play stands. Robin Cole stops him at the Pittsburgh 49-yard line.
It is vitally important for the Browns to establish a running game.
Lined up in the neutral zone.
This time it was Mike Merriweather lining up in the neutral zone.
Let's take a look at that run one more time. I said Biner, it's important for them to establish the running game. A trap coming from the inside. Nice blocking. He follows it well and straight up the middle. A good block against David Little, number 50, getting knocked down. But if they cannot establish a running attack, the Steelers are just going to try to eat Bernie Kozar up with the blitz all afternoon. So the running game is vitally important to them this afternoon.
Running backs are Biner and Dickey. First down at the Pittsburgh 49. That's Langhorne in motion. And here's Curtis Dickey. And he will lean to about the 46-yard line. We'll give him 3. It's going to be second down and 7 as David Little led the Pittsburgh defensive charge. Dickey, the 5th player selected overall. That was back in 1980 out of Texas A&M. And in addition to his football skills, quite a speedster in the NCAA.
He was
indoor sprint titles, yes.
And cut by the Colts last year, kind of a surprise to many people. He does have a lot of ability. He has not displayed it thus far this season. He is finally getting an opportunity with the injury to Mack.
2nd down and 6. They'll call it the 47-yard line, and Kozar to throw. As pressure, steps forward, drops it off into the right flat to Viner. And Viner goes out of bounds at the 35-yard line. So he rambles for 12 on the play. Sheffield was chasing him, and he picks up the 1st down. So it hasn't been a thing of beauty, but the Browns have moved from their own 25 to the Steelers' 35-yard line.
Let's take a look at Donnie Shell there, the strong safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He simply has to sit back there, wait on the football, and he comes up and makes the tackle on Viner, at least gets involved in it toward the end of the play. But Donnie Shell, one of the best to ever play this game, the leading active interceptor in the NFL.
1st down at the 35-yard line. Viner and Dickey, the running backs. Play action fake to Dickey, and Viner drops it. Pass is incomplete. It's going to be 2nd down and 10 at the 35-yard line.
And that's the type of thing Cleveland's going to try to do all day long, try to get Kozar out of the pocket when they want to throw the football. As I said, the Steelers' game plan today, blitz Bernie Kozar as much as possible.
Marty Schottenheimer, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And he had an interesting note on the blackboard in the locker room. They had the times you go out and all that, and then it said 1 o'clock, street fight. And that's the way this game is usually described when the Steelers and the Browns hook it up. Here's Viner. And the Steelers are there. We'll give him 2 to the 33. It's going to be 3rd down and 8. I'm surprised on a 2nd and 10. Darrell Sims and David Little with the tackle, but the Browns are just going to run right at the Steelers.
Well, they are going to run, and when they throw the ball, they've gotten to a pattern where they're throwing the shorter routes. Lindy Infante, the new offensive coordinator here, in fact, there's been 5 in the past 5 or 6 years, so another new offensive strategy for Bernie Kozar to try to comprehend. But they've thrown 24 passes to Ernest Viner, and to the wide receivers, just 20 catches throughout the first 4 games.
3rd down and 8. And the crowd now gets into the ballgame. The remaining back, and Kozar is going to take a timeout. Not because of the crowd noise, but because of an indecision. We've got a timeout. We'll be back with no score. The distinguished-looking but worried man is Art Modell, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, and he, like everybody else, tried to break the jinx for Cleveland. Usually he drives up the morning of the game, but this morning
he flew off. He flew off from Cleveland. They're going to try.
And I'll guarantee he's in a different seat than he was last year, so he'll at least move over 1.
That's right. But you know what the Rooney family will tell the Modells? Through this whole thing, the players have changed over the 16 years. You're the only one that's been the common denominator.
Somebody suggested that perhaps he stay home and watch it on television. 3rd down and 8. Kozar with pressure, and it is incomplete. So it's going to be 4th down and 8. Webster Slaughter, the intended receiver.
Again, that short passing attack of the Browns, they're going to try and do that most of the afternoon.
Jeff Gossett is in the hole as we'll check the scores. England by 3, Kansas City with a field goal over the Raiders. Chicago scoreless, St. Louis with a field goal over the Giants. Scoreless in the other 2 games. A 50-yard field goal attempt by Matt Barr. Originally with Pittsburgh. 50 yards away, and the lead. And it is no good, off to the left. So Anderson has missed from 43 for Pittsburgh. And Barr has missed from 50, and we are still scoreless. 4 minutes and 58 seconds. That is the time remaining in a very fast-moving, scoreless first quarter. This is Charlie Jones along with Jimmy Cepolo. The Steelers now on offense for the 2nd time in the ballgame from their own 33-yard line, 1st down. 2 missed field goal attempts, and that's been the early story of this outing. Malone, a little play action fake. All the time in the world, the pass is complete. Calvin Sweeney pulls it in and has the 1st down. Gain of 13 yards on the play. Anthony Green, that was not Sweeney. That was a tight end, Preston Gothard. Gothard with only his 3rd reception of the season, a free agent out of Alabama in his 2nd year.
And Gothard is usually the guy they like to block and not catch the football. Here he comes all the way across the field, forcing Griggs to cover him, and that's always a mismatch anytime you have a big middle linebacker trying to cover a tight end.
The ball at the Pittsburgh 46-yard line after the pickup of 13, and a first down, and Lewis Lips comes in motion, and the give is to Rich Ehrenberg. Ehrenberg to the 47-yard line, we'll call it. So it's going to be 2nd down and 9. And Bob Golick, the nose tackle, is the man who stopped him. And number 31 is Frank Minifield, who is the player shaken up. And Minifield staying in the ballgame for Cleveland. David Hughes in the backfield for the Steelers. Hughes signed this year as a free agent. His previous 5 seasons with the Seattle Seahawks, and used primarily in 2nd and long and 3rd and passing situations. Play action fake going deep to Lewis Lips as position, good defensive play, and an interception for the Cleveland Browns. And it is Frank Minifield who came up sucking for air a moment ago, and they went right after. Minifield had recovered and has the interception.
And you got to give Minifield more than enough credit for this. Coming off the injury, he still has enough presence of mind to come back and make the big play against Lewis Lips. Now, this is anybody's ball. When you get into this position, a quarterback likes to think, I've got a 50-50 shot. They go up, and Minifield surprisingly outjumps Lips.
This is Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cefalo. Cleveland with their 2nd opportunity in offense, this time from their own 15-yard line. Fontenot and Biner are the 2 running backs. Biner gets the call. He goes out at the 19-yard line, has 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Defensively, Harvey Clayton was there. Be sure to join us on Saturday evening, October the 18th. That's 2 weeks from last night. It'll be the opening of the Fall Classic as NBC Sports proudly presents the 83rd World Series. Baseball's great moments were first televised, as most of you know, on NBC, and our long tradition continues as the National League champions host the American League champions in Game 1. The World Series is back home on NBC. No score here between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. It is 2nd down and 6. The Cleveland Browns control in their own territory, and Bernie Kosar to throw. Goes deep. He airs this one out. Has a man there. Oh! And pass interference is going to be called.
There's very little question about that.
Harvey Clayton.
Harvey Clayton can do it.
The touchdown, though, because Webster Slaughter, the rookie out of San Diego State, did have a step on it.
But nothing makes a receiver matter is to play the game and play it right. You get open, you beat the guy, and then he tackles you from behind. I mean, there's no question about that. Everybody and their sisters have gone after Clayton this year. He's had a poor season. A week ago, he came back to play well against Houston. But you can bet your bottom dollar that this afternoon, Kosar and Slaughter are going against them.
Penalty of 53 yards. And the ball at the 28-yard line. And a first down in Steeler territory. And as a receiver, Jimmy, I know that you hate it.
Oh, I hate it. They come back and say, hey, if you want to play the game, play it right. But it's, right. But
in soccer, they call it the professional foul. Nobody likes it. A little play action fake. There's pressure. He gets the pass off. Biner stumbles, stays on his feet, and still manages to get to the 23. All that in a gain of 5. Robin Cole was there for the defense. It'll be 2nd down and 5. And Slaughter did look good getting open on the play behind Harvey Clayton. But like you said, everybody's been running at Clayton. It's just as if they want to save him until they need him. Other scores. New England, look at this. Miami always has a problem winning at New England. Kansas City in front of the Raiders, 10-0. Chicago scoreless against the Vikings. 2nd down and 5. Brennan in motion. Here's Fontenot. Fontenot has the first down as he goes to the 15-yard line. Picks up 8. Robin Cole with the tackle. Let's go back to the other games in progress. St. Louis out in front of the Giants. Washington leading New Orleans. Atlanta, Philadelphia scoreless. Green Bay leading Cincinnati, and Houston leading Detroit. And here it is Cleveland nothing and Pittsburgh nothing. A pair of missed field goals. Matt Barr for the Browns missing from 50. Gary Anderson from Pittsburgh missing from 43. And Cleveland with a threat underway at the Steelers' 15-yard line. Langhorne in motion. Kosar looking to Langhorne. Goes back into the end zone for the touchdown. He goes to Webster Slaughter, who beat Chris Sheffield. And the Browns are on the board.
And a little bit of an extra spike by Slaughter. That's just to tell the defensive back there. Mr. Modell's going to stand up and he's going to applaud that one. And everything else this afternoon that Cleveland does well. Nice throw by Kosar. But I think Slaughter put a little bit extra effort into that spike down there just to say how much he disliked that little professional foul a few minutes ago against Clayton.
Matt Barr to attempt the extra point. And it is good, and the Cleveland Browns are out in front of the Steelers by a score of 7-0.
All right, Slaughter and Sheffield. Now this is a little bump and run coverage by number 41 Sheffield. He does a good job, but Slaughter wants to get inside, and the mistake that Sheffield makes is that he turns his back momentarily, and it's a perfect throw by Kosar. He drills it a little bit of touch over the top, and that's a tough play to defend.
And for Webster Slaughter, that is his first NFL touchdown, celebrated by Art Modell.
And breathing a little easier up in the box.
And now Cleveland will be kicking off to the Steelers with Chuck Sanders, number 45, and Donnie Elder, number 37, set for the return. Matt Barr to kick off. And Donnie Elder from the goal line. Elder to the 20. Fumbles the ball. There's a scramble for it, but the play may have been blown dead. Cleveland is saying that they have the ball. And let's see what the officials say. Officials may rule the same way. And a conference is going to be held. It was obviously a pulling match underneath.
Miller taking the kickoff, stopped by Fontenot.
And it is the Cleveland Browns football.
Let's take a look at the end of that play and see exactly what happened to Elder. See if somebody tries to get an arm in there and knock it out. It is number 87. That's Tucker knocking the ball out. There you see it on the ground. No question about the fumble. And a host of Cleveland Browns dive on it down the bottom. And even, look at that, there's ball number 9 coming. He wanted part of that, too.
He was covering the top of the pile is what he was doing. Okay, a major break for the Cleveland Browns. The ball at the Steelers' 22-yard line, first down. Cleveland leading 7-0. Now with 1:59 left to go in the first quarter, Kosar, with all the time in the world, has to drop it off underneath the coverage. The pass is complete to Ozzie Newsome. Robin Cole makes the tackle, and Ozzie Newsome now continues his consecutive streak. That is his 103rd reception, and he is tied with Alfred Jenkins for 5th place on the all-time list. And of course, tomorrow night a new record will be set on the all-time list, as we expect it to be set, as Steve Largent, the game against San Diego, his first reception will move him to 128 games. They've got a big celebration. They've got a special presentation for him. They won't tell anybody what it is, but they say that it's a very personal thing to Steve. So we're really looking forward to that. Now let's get back to this game. First down at the 10-yard line. Here's Biner. Makes a good move at the 6, but he is stopped at the 5-yard line, so it's going to be second down. Eric Williams is the man who made the tackle.
Stopped by Shell and Williams.
And Gary Dunn, the fine nose tackle for Pittsburgh, number 67 in the middle. See, he's rolled out of there, double team. Babb gets a nice block, opening the hole for Biner, who gets very close to the 5-yard line.
Second down and 5. The ball just outside of the 5. Possible to pick up a first down with not going in. There's about a foot difference right at the goal line. Kosar to throw. And it is there, but incomplete. Reggie Langhorne, the intended receiver. Donnie Shell is the man that he got away from, so it's going to be 3rd down and 5, and it was just outside of his fingertips.
Yeah, and Kozar is being pressured by number 93, Keith Willis there, and it forces him to put a little too much on the football. And Reggie Langhorne, number 88, just misses.
Is that catchable? Is that as a receiver? Is that
no,
a catchable?
That is not a catchable ball. He laid out for that as much as possible, and that's not a catchable football. But you know what? He'll go in on Tuesday morning, and the Brown staff will give him a drop on the play. That's for certain.
They look at it differently.
They do. Different perspective.
3rd down and 5. Finder the remaining back. Diving pattern into the far corner, and it is incomplete. Langhorne again. He could not get away from Donnie Elder. Elder with good coverage on him.
It was good coverage. It seemed they got tangled up right around the goal line, and Elder at the end of the play gives him a little slap on the back of the helmet saying, well, come back because I'm going to enjoy playing again. And that's that psychological battle that goes along. The Cleveland Browns secondary has been accused of doing a lot of talking across the line of scrimmage, and that you see a little bit starting already by Elder.
And here is Matt Barr with his second field goal attempt. This one will be from the 12, an attempt of 22 yards. It's just a little chip shot, and he has got this one from 22 yards away. So they cash in on the fumble recovery, and the Cleveland Browns now lead the Steelers by a score of 10-0. We have only 58 seconds left to go in the first quarter. And offensively, the Steelers looked pretty good on that first drive, and that ended up with their missed field goal.
Yeah, they've been a comatose team offensively through the first 4 football games, though they've only scored 2 touchdowns rushing and 2 touchdowns throwing the football, and you're not going to win very many games in this league doing that. And now with Cleveland coming out and scoring 10 quick points in the first quarter, you've got to wonder what Chuck Noll is thinking, whether or not they're going to try to put a little bit more zip into their offense. Of course they're going to try, but are they going to accomplish it or not?
One of the deep backs for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the far side is number 45, Chuck Sanders, a free agent out of Slippery Rock. And one of his stories today, I alluded to right at the beginning of the game, and there he is that he is one of the co-captains. And the reason being is that last week he got the highest grade on the special teams. So he made one of the co-captains. He said, this is like a dream come true. They said, what are you going to do? And he said, so you going to say anything? He says, no, I'm going to stand right behind Mike Webster. That's exactly what he did when they went out for the toss of the coin.
That's a smart idea.
But what a neat day for this young man. He is the only Steeler player born in the city of Pittsburgh. And here we go with Matt Barr kicking off for the Cleveland Browns. Browns on top by a score of 10-0. And Donnie Elder takes it deep and runs it out of the back edge of the end zone for the touchback. So Pittsburgh will bring it out to the 20-yard line where they'll go to work. And let's check in on the games in progress in the National Football League. New England leading Miami by a score of 10-0. Kansas City still in front of the Raiders, 10-0. Chicago and Minnesota scoreless. That's an interesting game. We'll be keeping an eye on that one. The Giants trail, Washington leads, and no score, Philadelphia, Atlanta. Louis Lips comes in motion. And Ehrenberg gets the call to the 26-yard line. Gain of 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Bob Golick and Chris Rockins. Now let's go back to the other 2 games in progress involving teams in the Central Division. Green Bay leading Cincinnati and Houston leading Detroit. Of course, everything very snug in the Central. Cleveland and Cincinnati both with 2-2 records. Pittsburgh and Houston with identical 1-3 records. 2nd and 4. Malone over the middle. The pass is complete to David Hughes. And Hughes moves forward to the 33-yard line. And it'll be a 1st down. And for those of you who joined us late and have not heard, the Cleveland Browns have never won here in Three River Stadium. They are 0 for 16. But they lead by a score of 10-0 as the gun sounds. We have the first quarter in the book. We'll be back in just a moment.
Still 2nd down.
2nd down and 10. The ball back at the 33-yard line.
Mark Malone has the lowest rating of any NFL quarterback, a 31.6. And with only 40% of his passes completed, he's heard the boost quite often here at Three Rivers during the first few games.
Calvin Sweeney in motion. Here comes the blitz. Malone slips it, gets the pass off. Good play, tip to the air, and it is incomplete. But Eddie Johnson was right behind Mark Malone. He was lucky to get that one off.
He was, came right up the gut. Nobody touched Johnson on the play. Had an open shot to Malone. Malone did a nice job of scrambling around and getting the ball off, but then nearly made the big mistake of throwing the interception. There he is. You see him, number 51, Eddie Johnson, a clear shot. Malone's a good athlete, makes a nice play to get away from it, but then makes the mistake throwing back against the grain, which is always dangerous, and nearly an interception.
Third down conversions, 2 of 3 for the Steelers. And this one's a long one, 3rd down and 10. 3 of 6 for Malone. And 1 interception, that by Frank Minifield. Rich Ehrenberg. First down. 8 of 15.
And I have no idea what happened to the entire force people for the Cleveland Browns. Nobody was on that corner. Ehrenberg could have walked for 10 of those 15 yards. Let's take a look at it. Watch this. He's coming around the corner following his blockers. His blockers have nobody to take care of. You know, they're looking around saying, wait, who are we going to block here? Number 79, John Reacher says, hey. And then he gets surprised running around the corner. Reacher didn't have anybody to block whatsoever. A 15-yard gain.
And it's a first down at the Steeler 48-yard line. Ehrenberg right side. And this time he is spun down after crossing the 50. We'll mark it at the Cleveland 48-yard line. We'll give him 4. It's 2nd down and 6. Ray Ellis, along with Eddie Johnson, make the tackle for the Cleveland Browns. Browns on top by a score of 10-0 with 13 minutes and 15 seconds left to go in the first half.
And Ray Ellis, of course, another cast off of the man in Philadelphia, Buddy Ryan, who's coming in and starting for another NFL club just a few weeks after being released.
They spot it at the 49-yard line, 2nd down. And here's Ehrenberg. Ehrenberg getting a workout. Abercrombie still on the sideline to the 45-yard line, so that's 4. 3rd down is still a couple to go. Ray Ellis and Eddie Johnson with the tackle.
Let's take a look at this collision. Now, you know, when you say, hey, I'd like to be an NFL football player, this is what got me to retire and sit in the booth next to you, Charlie, for a while. Take a look at this. Boom! 24 versus 24. Ray Ellis versus Rich Ehrenberg, and that's enough to make anybody retire.
Walter Abercrombie comes back into the game. Steelers have converted on 3 of 4 3rd down opportunities. This is 3rd down and 2. And it is David Hughes. And Hughes is cut down at the 45-yard line by Eddie Johnson for no gain. So a good defensive play by Eddie Hughes out of Louisville in his 6th year in the National Football League.
And one of the most underrated linebackers on this crew. When you have names like Chip Banks and Clay Matthews, and they had Kuzno for all those years, Eddie Johnson's been the most consistent, averaging 10 tackles over the past few years.
And here is the kick with Gerald McNeil. And he's going to signal a fair catch and step away. The ball takes a Steelers bounce. They cannot down him before it gets into the end zone. So the Steelers had the opportunity, but Chuck Sanders could not get there in time. And it will go on the books as a 45-yard kick. A touchback will bring it out to the 20. We've got a timeout. Back in a moment. Browns lead it 10-0. This is Charlie Jones along with Jimmy Cephalo. Let me correct myself. I said Eddie Hughes made the play for the Browns, but Eddie Johnson, of course, the linebacker. He is really having a good year.
He is. Well, a good few years. As I said, averaging 10 tackles per game since 1984. Doesn't get enough credit in my book.
The Browns on offense, first down from their own 20-yard line, and there is anticipation by Dennis Winston, who just came in on defense, replacing David Little, trying to guess the snap count.
A good quarterback will do that to you, though. Kosar is that type of a heady player who will alter his count, maybe change his inflection at the line of scrimmage to try to get a linebacker who he knows is going to be blitzing from the other side of the line to jump a little bit too early.
In penalties, Pittsburgh 68 yards, 4 times for 68. The Browns have not been penalized. Kosar has completed 4 of 8. He gives his time to Fontenot. Fontenot just a couple of yards to the 27. It was 1st and 5, though, so it's going to be 2nd down and 3. Brian Hinkle, leading tackler for the Steelers, is the man who brought him down. Other games in progress. You had a glimpse of them, and there they are for sure. New England, there's another jinx just like the one here. Kansas City, look at that in front of the Raiders. Kansas, maybe the Chiefs are for real. Chicago leading Minnesota now 7-0. That was expected. Took them a while to get there. Kansas City may be the surprise team in the West.
Well, they
Good
may
defense.
be. They've had trouble at the quarterback spot. Todd Blackledge has not had a fine season thus far.
Goes our pass to Biner. Biner, the leading receiver thus far in the ball game for the Browns. Also their leading rusher, Robin Cole, makes the tackle.
And speaking of Todd Blackledge, of course, his father, Ron Blackledge, the offensive line coach here in Pittsburgh for the Steelers.
That's right. Giants trail in the 2nd quarter. Washington on New Orleans with a field goal. Atlanta and Philadelphia still scoreless. Cincinnati has tied it up with Green Bay. And Detroit leads Houston 7-3. Those games, particularly Cincinnati and Houston, of interest to Steeler and Browns fans. And it's a 1st down here at the 31-yard line with Cleveland leading Pittsburgh in a score of 10-0. We're moving on the 10-minute mark of the time remaining in the 2nd quarter. It is Biner again. Mark this one for no gain. 2nd down and 10. Keith Gary and Edmund Nelson make the tackle for the Steelers.
And with a lead of 10 points here in the beginning moments of the 2nd quarter, Cleveland's going to be content to try to reestablish that running game. They had some success early on in the 1st quarter. Go to the short passing from Bernie Kosar. They've done that all year long. But they are also an offense that has not been very successful in the early goings this season. Now with 10 points in the 1st quarter, it's a confidence builder for Kosar. Let's see if he can extend by throwing those short passes for a higher percentage.
One thing that Cleveland has done, they've taken the Pittsburgh crowd out of the ballgame, at least at this point. Just a little shovel pass to Biner, saving the sack. And a pickup of 5 yards to the 36 is going to be 3rd down and 5, where Winston makes the tackle. Now for an update, let's go to New York.
Charlie, playing at home, the Chiefs have a 17-0 lead in the 2nd quarter against the Raiders. 10 of Kansas City's points set up by Los Angeles turnovers, including this 18-yard run by Boyce Green in the 1st quarter following a Mark Wilson fumble. 17-0 Chiefs.
Thank you, Bob. Not only Kansas City strong, but the Raiders, they have a multitude of problems, and they're finding even more as the season progresses. Here's the draw inside to Biner, and he slides to the 41, where they're going to mark it down to the 39. Gain of 3, so it's going to be 4th down and a couple. And that means that Jeff Gossett will come in to punt. Keith Gary was there for the defense. Marty Schottenheimer, the head coach of the Browns. And there's Gossett with a 42.1-yard average coming into the game. And Rick Woods is set for the return. He's never had a punt block. And Woods, he broke that 41-yarder in overtime that set up the winning touchdown last week.
And he's playing with a fractured thumb. That's very difficult to catch a punt with that type of an injury.
He's not going to have to bother with this one. This is a dead shank right. Oh, Jeff Gossett. They're going to mark it out at the Cleveland 48-yard line.
Let's see his reaction after he gets the punt off. This just slides off the right side of his foot. No pressure whatsoever. And Gossett knew it immediately as soon as it was released.
A punt of 9 yards.
You know, Jerry, sometimes I take you for granted. You're a terrific husband.
Jeff Gossett of only 9 yards. Let's see if they can cash in. There's Lewis Lips. And they'll end up losing yardage. Oh, they'll lose 7 or 8 yards on the play. And here's a reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player of today's game at the conclusion, as Sam Clancy made that last play. Mark Malone has completed 3 of 6 for 26, and let's go back.
All right, a little bit of the tomfoolery doesn't work here. The handoff back to Lips, who's suffering from some hamstring problems today. You have to wonder, is he 100%? He does not get around the corner. Eddie Johnson, number 51, came along to turn him back outside. Once again, Eddie Johnson with a big play.
2nd down and 17 after the loss of 7. Malone to throw. There's pressure from the outside. Pass is complete, incomplete. Ehrenberg had it, did not have possession as he was hit immediately, and guess who it was? Number 51, Eddie Johnson, who's having an excellent game.
He does it week in and week out. He's a very consistent player. Ehrenberg, I like him as a receiver out of the backfield. He's considered a spot player, of course, playing more today because of the injury to Abercrombie, but he just plain drops this. He knew he was going to get drilled by Johnson, and that's getting drilled. That's the second time that Ehrenberg has been hit very hard this afternoon. The life of a running back in the NFL, you can have it.
Ehrenberg, the leading rusher for the Steelers, with 46 yards and 7 carries. This is 3rd down 17, and David Hughes comes in. Sweeney in motion. And here's the screen, and it is complete to David Hughes. Hughes needs 3 more yards. He got one of them. He's going to go just a couple of yards shy as Chris Rockins makes the tackle at the Cleveland 40. It'll be 4th down and 2, and the crowd wants the Steelers to go for it. But no, Harry Newsom will come in to kick. Then you have to punt it.
Yeah, you do. I mean, it's
don't let your emotions
3.
run away with 6.5 minutes to go in the first half.
That's absolutely right. And the boos have been here. And it's an unfamiliar sound to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, they've been winners for all these years now. Last season, their first losing season since '69. They were 7-9 a year ago. This year, off to their poor start in 15 years. And the crowd wants them to go for everything. And Chuck Noll has just to say, well, I'm going to make the decisions as I see fit.
Going for the corner. Not get it. Misses just by a couple of yards. And so the ball will come out to the 20-yard line, where Cleveland will be moving on offense with 6 minutes and 9 seconds left to go, first half. Cleveland leads 10-0. Marty Schottenheimer, the head coach of Cleveland, went to school at Pittsburgh and was in the Steelers camp for a couple of weeks. Chuck Noll, the head coach of Pittsburgh, was born in Cleveland and, of course, played for the Browns for 7 years under Paul Brown.
An interesting connection. Yep. They are very good friends off the field.
Ernie Spiner. No gain. 2nd down and 10. Harvey Clayton with the tackle as we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WKYC TV3 in Cleveland.
This is Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cephalo, Three Rivers Stadium. It is Cleveland 10, Pittsburgh nothing. Cleveland has never won here in Three Rivers Stadium in 16 years. Cozart a slaughter pass for 15 yards, capping an 85-yard drive. That was a touchdown. And for Webster Slaughter, the number 2 draft choice out of San Diego State, his first NFL touchdown. And then Matt Barr, with 22-yard field goal, going deep. Incomplete. Ever so close to Gerald McNeil at 5'7", 146 pounds. One of the little men that they talked about in the pregame show. Let's take another look at the end of that play.
Remember when we talked about drops before, Charlie?
Yes.
I think Kozar's going to give him a drop on this one. You can't throw that any better. See, if it hits you full flat in the hand as a receiver, you have to bring it in. The other one we talked about earlier when Slaughter dove for the ball in the corner of the end zone was not a drop. But McNeil with so much speed, he'll play in the league a couple of years longer, and he'll catch those balls by laying out and making sure the catch for getting the touchdown. Just get the big gainer. At 146
pounds, the lightest running back, lightest man actually in the NFL. They call him the Ice Cube. Fits inside the refrigerator, of course. That one just slipped away. Was it intercepted? Edmund Nelson. The Steelers have the break they need to get back in the game.
This is an interesting call. It's either an interception or a fumble recovery. I'm not sure which. It depends on whether Kozar's arm was moving back or whether it was moving forward. If it starts to move forward at all, then of course it is a pass, and he would have had to catch the ball on the fly for the interception.
No, they're calling it a fumble.
That's right. It was still moving backwards. That is a fumble. They did not have to catch that ball flat in the air. And there you see Nelson covering it up for a fumble recovery and not an interception.
So the ball is at the 10-yard line of Cleveland. Pittsburgh with the big opportunity. First down. Ehrenberg and Jackson are the running back. Pitts comes in motion. The spin to give inside to Ernest Jackson. And he simply plows to the 5-yard line. It's going to be 2nd down and 5. Camp and Johnson were there for the defense.
The Steelers, with the problems they've been having with their offensive strategy and execution for the first 4 weeks of the season, have to capitalize. They need 7 points here if they're going to get back into the football game here in the second quarter. 3 points with this kind of an opportunity just is not going to cut it if they're going to go by what their offense has done for them over the first part of this season.
Leaning for the goal line is Ernest Jackson, and he is turned away just inches away. It's going to be third down with Eddie Johnson and Chip Banks making the tackle.
All right, here's Jackson coming right into your living room. He can get the first down inside the 1-yard line. Let's take a look at it. Number 56, Banks, with the tackle. And making sure that he doesn't get in, once again, is Eddie Johnson.
Third down and just inches. Touchdown for Mark Malone. He just needed a couple of inches with the football, and he got it. So the Steelers are back in the ballgame. Malone, our man. Well, it's been a lonely season for Mark Malone.
That must be a family member up there. He's not a popular man in Pittsburgh his first 4 weeks.
Extra point attempt is up, and it is good. And the Steelers have now pulled within 3 of the Cleveland Browns, capitalizing on Bernie Kosar's fumble.
Just straight over the top, as you said, Charlie. They needed just a couple of inches. The ball breaks the plane, and that's very close. But when he only needed 2 inches, they give him the touchdown.
And for Mark Malone, that is his first touchdown of the year. And I'm drawn back to last week. Like you mentioned earlier, it wasn't a pretty day, but Malone got it done.
Well, that's what's important about it. When you have a quarterback who, he's never going to throw for 400 yards a game consistently, but if he's going to win football games for him, that's the question that needs to be answered for the Pittsburgh fans, for Chuck Noll going into the rest of this season and into the draft to next year. They lost David Woodley when he retired prior to the season. Came in with Scott Campbell, who was released a couple of weeks ago to make room for Ernest Jackson. And Brister is the only backup to Malone, and he's only a rookie, so it's Malone or it's nobody at this point.
Today's telecast, presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or the use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the National Football League is prohibited. Gerald McNeil is set to return the kickoff of Gary Anderson. It is high and short, and McNeil takes it at the 7-yard line. He's to the 20, the 25, and is upended at the 26, comes down at the 27-yard line. Dave Edwards is the man who hit it.
The ice cube. He would have needed Rubik's Cube to find out how to put him back together.
Crushed ice, and it goes on and on.
It goes on and on. Let's take a look at the hit. I mean, he's fast and he's quick, which makes it even more difficult with the speed that he gets through the middle of the line.
See, he got out of the picture, he got so fast.
Yeah, he sure did. He also got dumped straight in his head.
That's melted ice. Anyway, first down, Cleveland at the 27. Browns leading now by 3, 10-7. Kosar has pressure from behind and from the side, and it's sacked at the 19-yard line. Keith Gary got it. That is the first sack for the Steelers. And the 10th time this year that Kosar has been dropped for a loss.
And this is some play by Keith Gary. Watch him. He goes right over the blocker and makes the tackle anyway. Straight over the blocker. That was number 74, Paul Farron, who wasn't able to keep Gary away from Kosar.
Second down and 18, a loss of 8. Jumping on the right side, but Ricky Bolden pulled away. They're going to call a false start on the Cleveland Browns, and that'll cost them 5 more. Gary was jumping in and out, and that's what the conference is all about.
Is it encroachment by Gary, or is
Can't
it
be. There
movement?
wasn't contact. It's got to be against the Browns. or if it's not, we'll have an explanation from the referee. Because once tackle to tackle, you go to the 3 or 4 point stance, you can't move.
Yeah, but if he flinches because the defender takes a swipe at him, then
Too bad.
I don't know if I'd agree with that.
Well, you got to be flinch-proof.
Yeah, right. Mike Babb looks like he's going to.
False start, number 77, offense.
That's the right call. They sit back to the 14. So Cleveland all of a sudden in trouble. Now it's going to be second down and 23.
All right, take a look at the top of the screen now. Bolden, number 77, moves. There he goes. He flinches away. What you can't see in that shot is Keith Gary, who took a running start but moved back to the last minute. Bolden says he caught.
The Steelers have to call a time. They have too many men on the field. And so Keith Willis was hurrying on. They started counting, and they said, oops, we have 12. And Willis headed for the sideline. They turned and stopped the clock with a timeout. Now, let's go to the 10-minute ticker. New England comfortably in front of Miami, 17-0 in the second quarter. Kansas City by a like score over the Raiders. Chicago has added 3 more. They now lead the Vikings by a score of 10-0 in the second. The Giants and St. Louis are tied 3-3. Washington just by 1 over New Orleans. That's interesting. And Atlanta, they have been such a hot team, still scoreless against the Eagles. Cincinnati leading Green Bay 13-7, and Houston is trailing Detroit 14-10. And here it is Cleveland 10 and Pittsburgh 7, and of course in the AFC Central, Cleveland and Cincinnati going into the action today tied for the lead at 2-2. Pittsburgh and Houston with a record of 1-3 are tied for third place. So once again, it looks as if in the Central Division will not have a wild card, and only
that's for sure.
You think that
the winner may be by default one more time. Divisions go through those problems periodically, and it happens to be the AFC Central's turn to have those difficulties. They seem to just beat each other. They're very close in competition. Many thought that the Cleveland Browns this season would pull away from that pack. They played a fine game last year against the Dolphins, should have won in the playoffs and continued on. And they came into the season with a great deal of optimism, but have not played that well in the first few games.
Second and 23. Pass is complete at the 21-yard line. A fumble, and the Steelers have the ball. Robin Cole.
Reggie Langhorne simply drops this ball. He slips down, had enough room to get a few more yards out of the deal, panicked, and then just dropped the football. Watch him. He slips this. Oops, I can get a couple more yards. Well, he had a little bit of help in losing the football, getting it popped up. Number 55, Dennis Winston, helped him along with that fumble.
And a first down for the Steelers just outside the 21. Sweep right side. Here's Ehrenberg. And he'll be wrapped up at the 20. Give him a yard. And it's going to be second down and 9. And, of course, the Steelers are already within field goal range. Clancy with the last tackle. And that is within range for the tie. And we have 2 minutes and 42 seconds and counting. Time remaining second quarter. Cleveland on top 10-7, but the Browns have been stuttering. Fumble by Langhorne and a previous fumble by Kozar has let the Steelers right back in the game. Inside handoff. Jackson works his way to the corner. It was a long time getting there. And he goes down at the 15. So he has 5. It'll be third down and 4. Clay Matthews had the defensive coverage for the Browns. So the Browns have made this thus far an exciting game, both for Browns fans and Steeler fans.
Well, the turnovers have really hurt them here, and as you said, the Steelers with a big opportunity to get back in the game.
2-minute warning will be given to both benches. We'll take a timeout. The score is Cleveland 10, Pittsburgh 7. We'll be back to Three Rivers Stadium in just a moment. Thus far in the first half of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Abercrombie with 22 yards rushing and 5 carries. He's still out with that Charlie horse. Ernest Jackson with 29 yards and 7 carries, and Rich Ehrenberg 47 yards and 8 carries. So the Steelers in the first half have rushed for a total of 98 yards. Mark Malone also rushed for 2 inches and a touchdown. 3rd down and 4 for the Steelers at the Cleveland 16-yard line. Malone throws. The pass is complete at the 5-yard line to... I thought it was Ouija Thompson, but it's Lewis Lips. And Frank Menafield was battling him all the way.
And that was a nice throw by Malone here. Once again, it's the bump and run coverage. But Lips gets him to turn the wrong way. A lot of contact going on in there, fellas. And that's just simply a perfect throw to fit it around Menafield. And a nice catch, a good concentration by Lips.
And Lips is still bothered a little bit by that hamstring. A great reception at the 5. 1st down and goal to go. The Steelers now with an opportunity to take the lead. Malone fires it and it's there. Ehrenberg, touchdown.
And that was another fine throw by Mark Malone. He had to fit it around Ellis and found Ehrenberg in the corner of the end zone. That's 2 very good throws back-to-back by Malone, something he has not done this early part of the season.
And the extra point is up, and it is good. And the Steelers, after trailing 10-0 now, have taken the lead 14-10.
All right, now watch the throw by Malone. A nearly perfect pass over the outstretched arms of number 24, Ray Ellis. It was set up because the Steelers like to take their tight end in the formation and run him across the middle in motion and then block him against the nose tackle. They faked it that time, pulled it up, and Malone found Ehrenberg in the end zone.
Anderson kicking off as McNeil takes it at the goal line. To the 10, 15, he's to the 20, the 25, breaks it to the 40. He's to the 50. This could be 100 yards and the lead for the Browns. He's got it. Gerald McNeil at 5'7", 146 pounds.
He did it a week ago against the Lions. He went 84 yards with a punt return. Now he does it with a kickoff return. Watch how quick he is. He has everybody running in the wrong direction. The kicker comes over, and you can forget about that. 146 pounds, as you said, the lightest man in the NFL. And you think back over the years, some of the great players that were small and tiny. Everybody says they can't do it. You had Nolan Smith, Supernet, they call him, from Kansas City. Remember him? And Walter Flea Roberts is the extra point is good by Barr, who played for the Browns. But he may be as exciting a little player or a player in football as there is today. I love to watch him.
Oh, yeah. 1974, Greg Pruitt was the last time that a Cleveland Brown went 100 yards with a kickoff return. Where'd Modell go? Art's already gone down.
He's going to congratulate him.
He's going to congratulate him.
Let's do that.
Oh, there he is. Look at this. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Art's up talking with everybody now. He was alone by himself. Nobody wanted to talk to him. They get the return to him. Art Modell, of course, is the owner of the Cleveland Browns, for those of you that might not know.
And NFL 86, of course, the pregame show talked about the little big men in the NFL. Gerald McNeil is certainly, maybe today, the most prominent of that group. He's turning into it.
He is, at least in this ball game,
right?
That's for sure.
Lionel James from San Diego a year ago did everything everybody wanted, but McNeil is the new talk of the little big men around the NFL.
It's Gary Anderson. He started it all. He kicked the ball.
And he ended it all, too, because he tried to make the final tackle.
New England has scored again. They now lead Miami 24-0. The Raiders on the board 17-7. Chicago still leads 10-0 over the Vikings. Giants and St. Louis still tied. Washington leads, and Philadelphia leads Atlanta now 7-0. Well, the Eagles win one. They think they can win them all, I guess. Kind of a short squib type kick. David Hughes returns for the Steelers. They certainly didn't want Pittsburgh to counter with a long kickoff return of their own. And of course, you have the clock working. Only 53 seconds left as Mike Johnson covers for the Cleveland Browns. And the Steelers, who had the lead a moment ago, and the lead lasted 15 seconds.
That's as long as it took McNeil to go.
Cincinnati leading, and Detroit leading Houston. Those are the games in progress, and here it is Cleveland 17, Pittsburgh 14, and the Steelers at their own 40-yard line, first down. With 53 seconds left in the first half, Malone to throw. Has protection. Throws into coverage to Calvin Sweeney. It's incomplete, but a very good pass.
Yeah, it was another nice one. That's 3 in a row for Malone. And that's what he needs. He needs to have a couple of good throws and a good football game to get his confidence back up to the level where it belongs. He's a first-round choice, and they wanted him to have the job. He's come in. He's a good athlete. He's a team player. He gets the other players pumped up, but has taken so much of the abuse here in Pittsburgh because of his inability to move the offense.
Second down and 10. Malone drops it off. David Hughes. Hughes to the sideline to stop the clock at the 45-yard line. So it's third down and 5. Frank Minifield makes the tackle. It was just a week ago that Gerald McNeil went 84 yards with a punt return that you talked about.
Yeah, and this is the longest in the history of the Cleveland Brown franchise. And just watch him, though. He's got so much quickness and speed, and he's one of those. You see the kicker once again. He has fun with those kickers at the end of the thing.
It's that matador. He just kind of olay as he goes by. So he does it again. This time, that was a punt return. This time, a 100-yard kickoff return for Gerald McNeil. Malone has pressure, steps forward. He ends up losing a yard. He does get sacked. For the Cleveland Browns, that is only their 6th sack of the year.
And now it's interesting because with fourth down, guess who's walking back out to the field? Gerald McNeil is still winded from the kickoff return, but this could be dangerous for the Steelers because he has the ability to, if not go all the way on every play, of course, to get them in position to kick another field goal. There is 32 seconds remaining.
That sack, by the way, is only the 4th time this year that Mark Malone has been sacked. And Harry Newsom will be punting to the Ice Cube himself, Gerald McNeil. 32 seconds left to play in the first half. Cleveland now leading by 3, 17-14. The Browns led 7-0, then 10-0. Pittsburgh pulled within 3, 10-7, and then in front 14-10, but then some 15 seconds later, McNeil with a 100-yard kickoff return put the Browns back on top by a score of 17-14. Turn is set up. They don't put that much pressure on him. He just stays away from it. He goes for the sideline just to cut off any kind of a return, and it goes out at the 23-yard line. So Cleveland takes over on their own 23, first down, with 24 seconds left to go in the first half. I would assume they'll be very content just to take one running play, let the time run down, and go into the locker room at halftime.
I think this deep in their own territory, that would be a smart move at this point. Again, Bernie Kosar likes that short passing game under Lindy Infante. That's at least what they've been doing this far. And I would imagine they'll simply sit on the football, go into the locker room down by 3 points.
And that's exactly what they're going to do. Is Reggie Langhorne has become the safety man in case there is any kind of a fumble. So Kosar is just going to take back, put the ball down, and we'll let time run out in the first half. So you have to officially take the countdown. And the score at halftime is Cleveland 17 and Pittsburgh 14. And the Steelers have made it close, had the lead just for a moment until this man, Gerald McNeil, rambled 100 yards with a kickoff return.
Once again, though, the Steeler offense has been anemic. The 2 turnovers is what allowed them to go ahead and score their 2 touchdowns. But they've got to do more in the second half in the way of offense, because they simply have not done anything to help themselves yet this half.
And now let's take a look at Gerald McNeil in action, a 100-yard kickoff return.
And his size really is not a detriment to him on kickoff and punt returns. It is as a receiver, because he's small and difficult for a quarterback to find him. But here he's so quick because he does have that small size. He doesn't need a large crack, certainly, and he has a smaller target to get ripped at. That's the good portions of his small size in the NFL.
NFL 86 halftime activities with the score Cleveland 17, Pittsburgh 14 will continue right after these messages from your local station.
And we welcome those of you who've been watching the games from Pittsburgh and Detroit. Bob Costas with Ahmad Rashad and Paul McGuire. Let's get you updated on what's happening elsewhere. New England is pummeling the Dolphins. As we told you on the pregame show, they're calling the Miami D Miami Mice these days, and maybe it's affecting the offense too, because Dan Marino has troubles. On his first attempt of the day in the first quarter, the pass is intercepted by Ronnie Lepet, and it sets up a field goal by Tony Franklin. A bit later, Tony Eason threw a 2-yard touchdown pass to Willie Scott. They led 10-0 at the end of one quarter. In the second quarter, they build it to 17-0 on this scoring run from 7 yards out by Craig James. Then the next time they get the ball, Tony Eason goes back to work, and Irving Fryer will be on the receiving end of a 38-yarder. First we watch James get his congrats from his teammates. Now watch Eason. He scrambles away, he throws on the run, he splits a pair of Dolphins. Fryer makes the catch and then improvises in the end zone with a little dance step. Very nice. And then just before the half ended, Tony Franklin adds a 27-yard field goal for a 27-0 lead. Paul.
Well, the Miami Dolphins defense, Bobby, they've got to be talking to themselves, because they just can't even slow anyone down. Remember, the other teams are averaging 38 points a game against them. They already have 27 what is in the first half. There's no defense in this football team, and it's going to affect the offense. I mean, you're going to start forcing things.
The lone possible bad news for the Patriots, Tony Eason with an injured shoulder, replaced by Steve Grogan. We don't know if he'll play in the second half. We'll try and get a report for you. Now, in Kansas City, the Chiefs might be on their way to a 4-1 start. They led 17-0 over the Raiders at one point. The Raiders have closed it to 17-7. A glum Al Davis, his team 1-3, and one of the reasons why Davis is unhappy, the health of Marcus Allen. Misses his second straight game with an injured ankle. Turnovers set up the first 10 Kansas City points. Ray Guy on the punt attempt fumbles, and it leads to a Nick Lowry field goal. Then after Mark Wilson botches a snap, Kansas City gets the ball back, and that drive ends with Boyce Green scampering around the left side for 18 yards and a 10-0 lead. A bit later, Todd Blackledge, a yard pass to Paul Kaufman, and it was 17-0. However, Tom Flory's team did get on the board on a Dokie Williams reception of 12 yards from Mark Wilson. Interesting, because the replay showed that Williams did not have possession in the end zone. The replay official was set to overrule the officials on the field, but again, they were unable to communicate down to the field, and so a call they wanted to change stood. More evidence of the ongoing failure, and it has to be called a failure so far. We'll see what happens in subsequent week, but thus far, it is an unmitigated failure of the instant replay rule around the NFL. No failures for Kansas City. They could be on their way to a 4-1 start.
They're paying real strong, boy. But, you know, the Raiders, I've always thought the last 2 or 3 years, have really relied too much on Marcus Allen. He's been the key to their running, their receiving. He's the best blocker on the team, and now that he's hurt, they're really paying the price. As far as Kansas City is concerned, last year I thought they were a team that may go all the way. They started fast and then they faded. But right now, they are playing extremely well. But no matter how badly the Raiders play, if you can beat the Raiders just because of their reputation, it is a tremendous emotional boost for your football team. And right now, Kansas City leading 17-7. They're very confident.
2 more notes from that game, Ahmad. Carlos Carson goes out, the chief wide receiver. He's got an ankle injury. Van McElroy, the defensive back for the Raiders, goes out for a different reason. Involved in a fight with Irv Eatman of the Chiefs, which isn't too smart to pick on a guy like that. McElroy will cool off the rest of the game in the locker room. The Bears take a 10-0 lead to the half at Soldier Field. The Vikings stop them at the 1 as time ran out in the first half to keep it close. The Giants lead the Cardinals, and that game has gone to the half. Battle of field goals. Allegre has 2 for New York, a 6-3 lead. Washington, halftime at the Super Superdome the lead on the Saints, 14-6. Philadelphia leading Atlanta. Gerald Riggs left with a possible concussion for the Falcons. They haven't lost yet this year. They're 4-0, but they trail 10-0 at home at halftime. Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Let's look at some highlights from that game. The Browns have never won at Three Rivers, as their owner Art Modell knows only too well. The prospect of a long afternoon facing him, and his expression shows that. But things begin to look up for the Browns. Bernie Kosar, not known for his mobility, scrambles right and throws across his body 15-yard TD to Webster Slaughter, and that brings Mr. Modell to his feet. Now a bit later, after Pittsburgh had claimed a 14-10 lead, here's the Ice Cube, Gerald McNeil, fielding the kickoff at the goal line and scampering 100 yards for a touchdown. Last week against Detroit, he ran a punt back better than 80 yards for a score. This week, the 100-yard kickoff return, and if you were with us on the pregame show, Ahmad Rashad had a feature about little men in the game, and one of the people he talked about was the Ice Cube, who responds with that long run today. Cincinnati and Green Bay, the Bengals just got another touchdown. The Packers are on their way to an 0-5 mark. 27-7 is the score there. And one other score to report, Detroit with the lead at halftime over Houston, 21-13. Now let's send you back to the ballpark.
Welcome back to Three Rivers Stadium. This is Charlie Jones along with Jimmy Cephalo, and here the score is Cleveland 17 and Pittsburgh 14. The reason that I have the football is that...
Why do you have the football?
I have the football because of what happened to Bernie Kosar, and not everybody might not understand exactly the sequence of events.
Very good point. Bernie Kosar, the question was whether it was a fumble or whether it was an incompleted pass, because the ball did hit the ground. But the rule in the NFL is that if the arm is coming back and the ball is dropped, it is a fumble. Once the arm begins to come forward at all, then it is a forward pass. In that case, the officials ruled, again, it was a fumble there, the second quarter, I believe, but it was ruled that his arm was going backwards, and so it indeed was a fumble. Now, let's take a look at it. Kosar is coming back. The ball just slips plain out of his hands. Now, is his arm coming back, or is it moving forward? It is coming back, and there goes the ball out of the way, and it is recovered by Nelson. You see, it hits the ground, so in that sense, if his arm was going forward, it would have been simply an incompleted pass.
And this was what happened after the fumble recovery, and Malone takes it in, just kind of, it was inches away, and he just kind of wedged it back in. And following a fumble recovery by Robin Cole, and then it was Malone to Ehrenberg from 5 yards out for this touchdown, and that came with 1:13 left to go in the first half. And the reason that I mention that is because Gerald McNeil, with a 100-yard kickoff return, crosses the goal line with 58 seconds to go. So the lead of the Steelers lasted a total of 15 seconds. In reality, the first half pretty well dominated by the Cleveland Browns, but they have made mistakes, and the Steelers have been able to capitalize on it. And you have the feeling here that the jinx is still in effect. Don't you have that feeling? I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to happen.
Well, people are going to talk about that, Art. If they happen to lose this football game, you're absolutely right. People are going to say, you know, Kosar's arm's going by, and something gets on his hands, and it slips away, and he got all those problems. But that's I don't believe it.
You don't believe in it?
No, I don't. I don't believe it.
I thought I saw the jinx in the
He's running around here. Let's take a look at the first half stats. Time of possession on the side of the Steelers, which is a little bit surprising, I guess. It seemed that they tried to get that running game going in the first half and were successful with Ehrenberg, who's been subbing for Abercrombie, and that's why the time of possession's in their favor. Total yards on the side, once again, of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The 17-14 lead coming with Gerald McNeil's return, and that is not reflected in those specific statistics. But very close game in many ways here in this first half.
And the score, Cleveland 17, Pittsburgh 14, as Gary Anderson will be kicking off to the man himself, Gerald McNeil. His teammates have shortened that nickname just to Q. They're not taking any chances at all. Of course not. Picked up at the 15-yard line by one of the upbacks, and that's Fontenot. And Herman Fontenot out of LSU in his second year in the National Football League returns it to the 24-yard line. I tell you, the Browns may not see any long kickoffs for a while after everybody looks at that film.
For the rest of the season, you're absolutely right.
This is Charlie Jones along with Jimmy Cephalo as we start the second half at Three Rivers Stadium. In the history of Three Rivers Stadium, this is the 17th year that the Steelers have been here. They have never lost to Cleveland, or Cleveland has never won here. And Cleveland leads as we start the second half, 17-14. I said I think 24. It's a 29-yard line, very close to the 30. And Cleveland opens up throwing. The pass is complete to Reggie Langhorne, and he goes to the 49-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. A gain of 21 yards on the play.
Lindy Infante's offense relies on a lot of option routes by the wide receivers and running backs. That time, it was his job to Langhorne's just to find an open spot. The defense is to sit down and just stop. Kozar had to find him, and he did for a 21-yard gain.
Brian Hinkle makes the tackle at the Pittsburgh 49. First down. Brian Brennan in motion. Little play action fake. Kozar fires it. Is tipped. Should have been intercepted. Eric Williams had the opportunity. The ball was tipped, but he couldn't pull it down. It'll be second down and 10 at the 49. Here's another look.
Was it tipped or was he just tied with it?
No, it was
tipped at the line of scrimmage. You're absolutely right. Over the head of Brian Brennan, and the Browns are fortunate not to get the interception on that play.
Second and 10 at the Steelers' 49-yard line. Pieces of paper are being strewn about in the air as if there's a snowstorm happening here at Three Rivers. Fontenot. No gain. May lose a yard back to the 50 as Edmund Nelson was there. Let's mark at the 50 and call it third down and 11.
Third down and 10.
Third down opportunities for the Browns. They are 0 for 4 in the ball game. And there you can see some of the paper that is being windblown around Three River Stadium. Kozar going deep far side, and he overthrows Ozzie Newsome. Almost had an opportunity to scramble for it. I thought he might go for it.
Now, he looked like he had enough opportunity to get the first down. They did need 10 yards, but he opted instead to go downfield. And an incomplete pass will turn into a punting situation for the Browns.
And Jeff Gossett will be kicking to Rick Woods. And Woods on that right hand, it is tape. You can see right there. He has a broken thumb. There's a little bit of pressure. It goes to the side. Woods waves everybody off, and it takes a roll inside the 5, but they're going to mark it down at the 16-yard line. And we've got a timeout with the score. Cleveland 17, Pittsburgh 14. 13 minutes left to go in the third. This is Charlie Jones. Jimmy Cefalo is Cleveland 17, Pittsburgh 14. The Steelers have the ball at their own 16-yard line. That's where the ball was first touched by a member of the kicking team. As Ernest Jackson gets the call, and he'll pick up a yard on the play. It'll be second down and 9. Let's go back to that kick by Jeff Gossett.
And the Browns wanted running into the kicker call here, but as you can see, number 42, that's Dave Edwards. He's blocked into the punter by number 88, Reggie Lang.
Yes.
So there is no foul. If he's blocked into it, there is no foul whatsoever.
Second down. They mark it second down and 8. And the ball at the 18-yard line. As Ehrenberg turns the corner on the left side to the 21. Gain of 3. And his third down and 5 is Anthony Griggs, the leading tackler for the Browns. Coming into this game is the man who brought him down. And let's check the games in progress as New England is just waltzing away from Miami. Kansas City leading the Raiders by 10. And Chicago shutting out Minnesota. The Giants in front of St. Louis. They trailed early in that ball game. Washington leading New Orleans, and Philadelphia out in front of Atlanta. That is an interesting ball game that's working there. Steelers have converted 5 of 9 third down opportunities. This is third down and 5. And Ehrenberg leans to the 26-yard line. It will be close to the first down. See where the official is going to spot the ball. As Mark Harper was there for the Cleveland secondary. chains on the far side of the field, so we will have a measurement as they'll be brought across. And Cincinnati out in front of Green Bay, and that means, of course, that Cincinnati's record will be 3-2. Houston creeping up on Detroit. Houston's record is 1-3, and it is just about 2 inches short of the first down. This is the point that you might want to gamble, but no. Harry Newsom will come in and kick. What do you think about a gamble here?
No, I don't think you gamble now. I mean, you're well inside your own territory. It's the opening minutes of the third quarter. Just a 3-point difference is no time to gamble whatsoever. Too many things can happen. You kick the football away and line up one more time.
No, that's the good news. The bad news is you're kicking to Gerald McNeil.
And they'll be kicking out of bounds.
Oh, that's right.
They've done it every other time since he's returned that kick.
Figuring this, the Browns will just go for the kicker, put the pressure on rather than worrying about a return. And thinking about the possibility of a return, McNeil, he gets by him. He has touched the ball. It's the Steelers' ball if they get it in bounds. They have to have possession in bounds, and they do. McNeil made a very dumb play. Once it's hit the ground a couple of times, stay away from it.
Yeah, that's the prime rule of a punt returner. Once it hits the ground and starts bobbling around, just stay completely away from it. But he just boots this because he had enough time to pick it up. He kind of slips on the turf a little bit, or just runs by the ball, actually. And it's too late. It hits a fingernail, and it's all over.
And Donnie Elder comes sliding in with the recovery. And the ball is at the 35-yard line. Cleveland territory and a first down. And Ehrenberg goes to the 30. He picks up 5. Ray Ellis makes the tackle. It's second down and 5. And so the Steelers, very opportunistic in this ballgame, have one more chance.
And Ehrenberg getting a lot of work because of the injury to Abercrombie. Another big hit put on number 24, Rich Ehrenberg, this time by Ellis. Boom. 24 versus 24.
Ehrenberg, 11 carries, 59 yards rushing in the ballgame. Second down the market, 2nd and 6. As Ernest Jackson goes to the 28-yard line. It's going to be third down and about 4 as the nose tackle Bob Golick makes the stop.
And Golick is playing against Webster, who's coming off the injured reserve list today. And as we said earlier, the running attack of the Steelers has been anemic at best. But now with Webster back in, I think it's a psychological lift as well as anything, because the man who was replacing him, Dan Turk, played well enough. But with Webster in the middle, I think the players play a little bit better. He's an inspirational player for them. He directs them out there. He's kind of a coach there. You see him directing his guard to the right of him. They play better with him.
They're down and 4. The pass is complete outside. First down is Calvin Sweeney. One of the things they talk about is that as the offensive center, Webster can call the defenses and call the line blocking. How does that actually work?
Well, he comes up to the line of scrimmage and has to know immediately, take a look at the defense and decide whether it's a 3-man front or a 4-man front, where the linebackers are, and he calls out to his blockers on either side, making a decision by a numbering pattern. There's the quick out to Sweeney, getting up and enough for a first down.
Ernest Jackson and Chuck Sanders are the 2 running backs. It's a first down at the Cleveland 24-yard line. They play action fake. There's pressure. The pass is away, and it is caught inside the 10 to the 6-yard line. It is the tight end, Preston Gothard. Clay Matthews with the tackle, 18 yards, and the Steelers are back.
Another nice throw by Malone. A touch pass. He had to fit it in between a couple of people. A play action pass. One more time. They have the tight end going across the middle. Nice throw in between a couple of defenders for Mark Malone.
And it's first down goal to go at the 6-yard line with 9.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Trailing by 3. Malone wanted to throw a timing pass into the left-hand corner. There was coverage there. He comes back to the right side to Lewis Lips. Touchdown.
for the remainder of the contest. Mark Malone's played a pretty good football game and helped this team down the line quite a bit.
Point is good. The score is Pittsburgh 21, Cleveland 17, with 9:21 left to go in the third. We'll be back with a kickoff.
Let's take a look at the touchdown pass one more time. Malone wanted to go to Sweeney to the left part of the screen, but he's not able to. The defender there is off, and the play is turned into something of a shooting match because he's got to go and scramble for his life and find somebody else. He eventually does find Lips to the right side and scores the touchdown with it.
And again, the short squib-type kick, this time picked up by Scott Nicholas, the linebacker.
All right, here's Malone finishing the play. He scrambles out and finds Lewis Lips, who beats Minifield in the corner, and he pays a price for that catch.
The 3 touchdowns by the Pittsburgh Steelers have all followed turnovers. Fumble recovery by Nelson, by Cole, and Donnie Elder. And Cleveland goes to work on their own 32-yard line, first down, trailing by 4, 21-17. With 9:15 left to go in the third. Biner just outside the 35-yard line. We'll call it the 35. Second down and 7 as we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WKYC TV3 in Cleveland.
Paul Farron is the injured player as we have an injury timeout. Pittsburgh 21, Cleveland 17, and that means that we'll take a timeout and be back to Three River Stadium in just a moment. Paul Farron really just gets caught by the pile.
Yeah, he does. He's trying to make a block, and the pile catches up with him, gets his left leg twisted underneath.
That was Gary Dunn. He got it caught underneath. He has come out with a little bit of assistance, and we will pass on any injury information that we receive. Second and 7. Here is Curtis Dickey. Dickey turns the corner with fresh legs. He's not played that much in the ball game, and he goes out near the 50-yard line, and he picks up the first down. Donnie Shell was the man chasing him, and there is Paul Farron on the far side, a gain of 15 on the last play.
Did you mention Dickey's speed early on? He really can turn it on when he has to. A big sprint champion out of Texas A&M.
New England still leads Miami, shutting them out. Kansas City has that 10-point bulge on the Raiders, as does Chicago over Minnesota. Larry Williams has replaced Paul Farron in that offensive line. David Little and Brian Hinkle decking Biner. Oh, they really nail him at the 49.
Now take a look at Biner's head on this plane. You can tell how he gets whiplashed. It's David Little, number 50. Middle of your screen gets almost a clear shot at him, and boom, watch the back of the head go straight back. It's like being whiplashed in a car.
Hello, world.
Yes.
Second and 11. Steelers a little kind of misunderstanding on defense with too many players, and they go shifting in and out, and see if Cleveland can capitalize. Well, they have to drop it off to Biner underneath the coverage, and he'll pick up about 4 yards on the play to the 47-yard line of the Steelers. So it's going to be third down and 7 as David Little made the tackle. Let's go back to the other games. The Giants leading by 10. Washington in front of New Orleans, and Philadelphia still shutting out Atlanta. That's the upset that is working. As far as Central Division teams are concerned, Cincinnati is winning and Houston is losing. Third down opportunities. Cleveland is 0 for 5 today. Third and 7. Kozar on the draw, and it works. First down. Here's Biner. 35, 30, 25, 20, and then out of bounds. Donnie Shell finally pulled him down on the draw on third down and 7. A gain of 30 yards for Ernest Biner.
And some nice line play in the middle of the line for the Cleveland Browns. Take a look at it. Mike Babb, center of your screen, number 61, pushing his defender out of the way, and a crunching block by number 77, Ricky Bolden, to spring Biner to the outside.
So it's a first down just outside the 17-yard line. Biner again. This time he is shut down and wrapped up by David Little. And he'll lose a yard, maybe two. It's going to be second down and 12 at the 19-yard line. Keith Gary was also there for the Steelers. Pittsburgh out in front, 21-17, with 6 minutes and 43 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Coming, the line picks it up, he throws into the end zone, knocked away at the last moment by Harvey Clayton. There's a flag down. Slaughter the intended receiver, but Clayton almost did not get there in time. And the penalty will be against the Browns for holding. That may be the first flag that we've had in the second half of the ballgame. It's been moving right along.
Illegal use of hands, a jam to the face. Number 69, offense, still second down.
Can you tell the audio from the referee is just a little out of sync?
It seems to be just a little bit. Clayton gets completely turned around on the play. He doesn't know where he's at. And he's very fortunate that Kosar underthrew Slaughter, or this was a touchdown for the Cleveland Browns. Of course, with the penalty, though, it negated the play anyway. But Clayton, one more time, turned completely around by Slaughter.
And with the penalty, the ball goes back to the 29-yard line. And it is second down and 20. I think if you count it, it's about 21, maybe 22. Biner is shut down. Now the crowd gets back into the game. Mike Merriweather with the tackle.
And that's the same play that worked earlier on that third down situation, but they go to the well one more time and it doesn't work for them.
They'll mark it at the 29, so it's no gain, so it's third down. And when you think about a field goal, let's see, 7 yards back, it'll be an attempt of about 46 yards should this play fail. And that is within the range of Matt Barr. He has hit from 45 this year. His career long is 50. But he missed from 50 earlier here and made from 22. But that's a play away. Here's Biner on the right side. And he's to the 25 to about the 22-yard line before he goes out. And that'll give Matt Barr a little breathing room. And Modell is helping the Cleveland Browns from the sideline, the coach's box, the owner's box, Donnie Shell, with that last defensive play at the 22-yard line.
And some conservative play calling on the part of the Cleveland Browns. Third and a long situation, and they go right back to the handoff, to the sweep. Earlier before, the Biner draw worked on the third down situation. But I got to tell you, the way they're playing and turning the ball over, they got to be a little bit more aggressive.
Field goal attempt from 39 yards out. And it is good from 39 yards away. And that means that the Cleveland Browns have pulled within one. It is 21-20, the Steelers lead. Would you consider that conservative play calling by the Cleveland Browns?
I think so. A third down and long situation, and you are at about the 30-yard line. They've got to try to go out and win this football game. The last couple of contests decided in the last few seconds of the game here in Three River Stadium. I mean, you got to go out and win this thing. Let's not leave it to the field goal kickers one more time. If you're a Cleveland Brown fan, you certainly don't want that to happen again.
Donnie Elder on the return, and Elder returns it near the 20-yard line, where the Steelers will go to work, leading now by 1 point, 21-20, with just over 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Because in reality, all that Cleveland was doing was getting further into field goal range of Matt Barr.
That's all they did with the handoff to Biner. And this has been such a difficult span for them. We kid around about the streak, but they are 0-16 in the stadium, and if they want to go down to another field goal kick, well, it looks like they're playing right in that type of a game plan.
The last two games here, here's Ehrenberg, and Rich goes to the 30-yard line. And all that ball has to do is be near the 30, and they're going to mark it for the first down. Let's see. Yes, it is. There it is. Chris Rockins makes the tackle as New England continues to lead Miami. The Raiders are closing in on Kansas City. Chicago still shutting out the Vikings. Giants over St. Louis by 10. Washington still leading New Orleans. They've stretched that margin a bit. And Philadelphia continues to shut out Atlanta, with Cincinnati winning and Houston losing. First down for the Steelers, who lead here by 1, 21-20. A little swing pass into the right flat to Rich Ehrenberg. And he darts and dives and moves for about 9 more yards. So Ehrenberg getting quite a workout today. Abercrombie out with that Charlie horse. And Frank Pollard is bothered by a knee injury, and so he's carrying the offensive load.
Yeah, usually they simply like him out of the backfield on passing situations. He makes a nice catch here. You see why they like him on passing throws. He catches the ball very well. But he's also had 12 carries for 68 yards, getting the bulk of the work, as you said, because of the injury to Abercrombie.
Second down and a yard. Ehrenberg again. And they will place the ball just past the 40-yard line. Carl Hairston with the tackle. It's going to be another first down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Steelers not in any kind of a hurry. They lead by 1, and they will stay conservative. They've been conservative throughout most of the ball game. They went long one time to Louis Lips, and the rest of the time they played it pretty close to the vest.
Yes, they have. Their offense has not been overly productive. Their 3 touchdowns as a result of 3 Cleveland Brown turnovers.
Steelers at their own 40-yard line, first down. And throwing on first down into double coverage. And they got away with it. Sweeney, the pass is incomplete, but Hanford Dixon was there. There was inside help also. Wasn't that well thrown a ball?
No, it wasn't. He was getting a lot of pressure from number 78, Carl Harrison. Had to get rid of it immediately. But in those situations, a quarterback with some more experience has to realize either he eat the ball, take the sack, or throw it far enough so nobody gets it.
Because even though Malone is in his 7th year in the National Football League, he does not have a full year of experience.
No, he has not. He's been injured the past couple of seasons, and of course David Woodley and he were splitting time over the past couple of years.
Sweeney in motion, and the give is to Ernest Jackson. Jackson to the 50-yard line and rolls into Brown territory, taking the first down with him as he came over the back of Chris Rockins.
And it was a nice play by Rockets to make the tackle in the open field. Watch it here. It's that little delay play with the trap, that false step that number 43 Jackson takes in order to get his guard out in front of him. But watch the tackle that Rockets make in the open field against a good runner like Jackson. That's quite a play.
At the Cleveland 49-yard line, first down for the Steelers with 2:45. That is the time remaining in the third quarter. Steelers lead by 1, 21-20, and they're on the move. Louis Lips comes in motion, comes back to block, and Ehrenberg gets a handoff. And as a couple of yards to the 47, it'll be second down and 8 as Sam Clancy, who played his collegiate ball here at Pitt, makes the stop for Cleveland.
Yes, his collegiate basketball. Sam Clancy is the leading rebounder in the University of Pittsburgh basketball history. I can recall he came out of college the year I did at Penn State, and I used to like watching him. He could sweep the boards clean, so he was a big man on the court.
Second and 8. Jackson has it loose, 30-25. He's to the 22-yard line. Ernest Jackson.
We said earlier he's a Pittsburgh Steeler type of a runner, strong inside, likes to pick his holes beyond that trap blocking the Steelers do so very well. Let's take a look at the offensive line of the Steelers and see what they do. You see the pulling tackle coming from the far side, and Webster, number 62, blocking his side off. And then Jackson does the rest, breaking tackles along the way. Here you see 85, Calvin Sweeney misses the block, allowing Dixon to make the tackle, or that would have been 6 points.
Gain of 25 to the 22-yard line, and Jackson picks up 3 more as he goes to the 19. Anthony Grigg stops him there. It'll be second down and 7 at the Cleveland 19-yard line as we move now on the 1-minute mark. Time remaining in the third quarter, and Jackson 12 carries for 71 yards, and Ehrenberg also has 14 carries for an identical amount of 71 yards. Second and 7. Sweeney Sweeney to the far side, Lips to the near side, but the give is to Ehrenberg. And he's going to be covered at the 17. So it's 3rd down and 5 as Eddie Johnson, along with Anthony Griggs, the 2 inside linebackers, are there to halt the advance. Weegee Thompson comes in, along with David Hughes. So 3rd and 5 at the 17, again well within field goal range of Gary Anderson. And Malone waits for the countdown to the end of the 3rd quarter. There it is. That is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score Pittsburgh 21 and Cleveland 20. And we'll be right back to Three Rivers Stadium after these messages from your local station. This is Charlie Jones along with Jimmy Cefalo and some 57,327 fans here at Three Rivers Stadium as we start the 4th quarter. And for the Steelers, they are going for their 100th victory in Three Rivers Stadium. The Browns are going for their 1st on this field. They're down and 5 at the Cleveland 17. Malone, a little pump fake. He wanted to go deep, and he is dropped back at the 28-yard line. A loss of 11 yards as Carl Harrison got the sack. The second for the Browns, his 1st of the game, his 2nd of the year if you're playing the numbers game. But that is something a quarterback cannot afford to do because it puts even more pressure on his field goal kicker.
All right, they call number 78, Carl Harrison, Big Daddy. And Big Daddy falls all over Mark Malone on that play.
So that means that Gary Anderson has a 45-yard field goal attempt. Hey, doesn't make any difference. He hits from 45 yards away. And the score is Pittsburgh 24, Cleveland 20. Gary Anderson will be kicking off. The ball fell off of the tee. There's just a little bit of swirling wind, but not that much really to have any effect. The last field goal of 45 yards by this man, Gary Anderson, is the only score of the Steelers that came off of their own drive that started at their own 20-yard line, and they moved as far as the 17. And here is the return by Gerald McNeil. And I really didn't think he'd have a chance to feel the football anymore. Rick Woods makes the tackle for the Steelers. And now Cleveland trailing by 4 with 14 and a half minutes to go.
Say, look at McNeil up the gut. They grab onto the back of his shirt. Woods grabs the back of his shirt and holds on for dear life. Because anything less than that, McNeil doesn't need much more to get a little more of a crack, and he can take off.
Cleveland from their own 32-yard line, 1st down. Rosarda Biner, and he leans forward to the 35. Again, a 3-2nd and 7. Dennis Winston with the tackle. Winston, of course, as you know, out of the University of Arkansas with that nickname of Dirt. He was with the Steelers for a while, and then went away, and then came back as we look at New England. They're just waltzing away from Miami. Raiders are creeping up on Kansas City, now trailing by 3. Chicago still shutting out Minnesota.
I wonder when the last time the Dolphins were shut out with Dan Marino at the helm. Not very often. Probably never with Dan Marino back there.
There it is, Dickey to the 38, gain of 3. It's going to be 3rd down and 4. Robin Cole with the tackle.
All right, let's see what they do here now. 3rd down and 4 to go. Let's see if they go to the running game one more time or to the pass.
Giants, Washington, and Philadelphia all leading. Cincinnati continues to lead, and Houston is trailing. And here, it is Pittsburgh 24 and the Cleveland Browns 20, trailing by 4. 3rd down and 4, and one more time, the Browns have never won in the previous 16 outings here at Three River Stadium. They've converted only 1 of 7 3rd down opportunities. This is 3rd down and 4 over the middle and behind Ozzie Newsome. Incomplete, 4th down and 4. Eric Williams had the cover.
At that time, the blitz on Bernie Kosar, we said earlier, the Steelers are going to try to get to that young man, try to confuse him as much as possible. And they were successful that time. He had to try to dump it earlier to Newsome. but threw behind them, and once again it's a 4th down situation for Cleveland.
Jeff Gossett will be kicking. Rick Wood set for the return at the 19-yard line. Slips one tackle. He's to the 25. Fumbles. The ball is loose. And it is the ball of the Cleveland Browns. So a mistake by the Pittsburgh Steelers gives the Browns an opportunity. And the turnovers that was a 43-yard kick, and the turnovers are now even at 3 apiece.
All right, let's see what Woods does. It gets popped up from the backside. A defender slips his hand in there and punches the ball out. Mad scramble, and Cleveland comes up with it. That kind of evens it out before McNeil made the mistake on a punt return.
And there's the jinx. But Cleveland now at the Pittsburgh 34-yard line. First down. Trailing by 4. Still lots of time. 12:57 left to go. We've got a timeout, and we'll be back in just a moment. In the middle of your picture, number 87 is Travis Tucker.
Now, Travis Tucker knocked that ball out of Rick Wood's hands, and earlier he knocked the ball out of Elder's hands earlier in the first half. He got 2 of them out there on kicks for the Cleveland Browns. Big plays by Travis Tucker.
They're going to throw it on a no. Fontenot wanted to throw, but the coverage was there. And he has to make that decision to hurry. You can't hang around on that play. As Keith Gary makes the tackle at the 30-yard line, so they pick up 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6. And that last fumble, by the way, was recovered by Mark Harper.
And the Browns like to use Fontenot on those trick plays. A week ago, against the Lions, Brian Brennan was thrown a lateral. He tossed it down to Fontenot. This time, Fontenot was looking downfield, maybe for Brennan.
2nd and 6 at the 30-yard line. Binder in motion. Fontenot with Binder the lead blocker. Fontenot cannot get around the corner. Robin Cole was there to shut him down, along with Brian Hinkle. They'll mark it at the 32, so a loss of 2. It's going to be 3rd down and 8. And Cleveland, with all kinds of problems on 3rd down, they're only 1 of 8 in 3rd down conversions. Art Modell in the middle, the owner of the Cleveland Browns. Trying to break the jinx. Down to our right, Mr. Rooney. Hoping the jinx will continue. Kozar over the middle. Newsom, a wrestling matchup. Lethal call it incomplete. They may just rule it down at the 26-yard line. Was it Hinkle that he was wrestling with? And, of course, if it's a simultaneous catch, it goes to the offensive player. They're going to mark it at the 26.
Repeat of the situation we had a few minutes ago. Blitz coming up the middle, and Kosar gets rid of it early. For Newsom, he makes the catch, and as you see, they're arguing over the ball. They hit the ground. It pops loose, so the ball has to be down because, of course, the ground cannot cause a fumble. Good call by the officials.
Spotted at the 26, and a field goal attempt from the 33. An attempt of 43 yards by Matt Barr to once again pull Cleveland within 1. Everything as Barr misses from 43 yards away. The Browns say it is against the Steelers.
Running it to the kicker, I believe, is the call.
The kicker, number 42, defense, first down.
I'm not sure about that.
Wait a minute.
Let's look at that again.
Running into the kicker. How about like untying his shoelace when you're down on the ground?
Let's see. Do we have that again? Because it's almost as if it was a mutual. The kicker had stepped forward. But at any rate, it's a first down. At the 21-yard line. And Kozar is going to throw. And he is wrapped up at the 23. So a loss of a couple as Keith Gary and Gary Dunn get the sack. The second of the ball game for the Steelers.
All right, let's take a look at it one more time. Now, let's see where the plays are. It's over, okay? The play is over, and I have no idea why Barr falls down, but nobody ran into him. If anything, as you said, Charlie, he took a step forward.
There was contact, but I think it was afterwards. It's a judgment call.
It is a judgment call. Now, the other end is, did 42 roll over his legs or not? But that is an awfully close call to make in an important situation.
Second and 11. At the 22 is where the ball is spotted. Cleveland still in possession. Kozar looking left. Steps forward, throws left. The pass is complete at the 16. Anthony Hinton is there for the defense. As Webster Slaughter is on the receiving end. They're going to mark the play dead at the 17. So they'll pick up 5, and it'll be 3rd down and 6. The score is still Pittsburgh 24 and Cleveland 20. And Cleveland still with the short end on 3rd down conversions, 1 of 9. 10 minutes, time remaining in the ballgame. And Ernest Miner is the remaining back. Kozar throws, it is caught at the 7-yard line by Brian Brennan, and an excellent reception because Kozar threw behind him. Eric Williams was there for the defense. It's going to be 1st down and goal to go at the 7 after a gain of 10.
The idea of Lindy Infanti, the offensive coordinator of the Browns, is to spread the field as much as possible, put people all over, allowing Kozar to pick his spot. As you said, a nice catch by Brennan because the ball was thrown behind him. An important 3rd down conversion, something, as you said, they have not done well.
They've not been doing, that's right. Just inside the 7, it is 1st down and goal to go. Fontenot and Viner are the running backs. It is Fontenot with a flag down. And he has a yard, and we'll check out the flag. Dave Edwards with the tackle. And the penalty will be against the Steelers. Inside the 6 at the end of the play, and here's the call.
Offside, number 53, defense, at the distance, still 1st down.
Brian Hinkle lining up offsides. They'll split the distance to the goal line. The ball just inside the 4, and it's 1st down and goal to go. Davis is in as a lead blocker for Viner. Davis blocks, Viner's behind him, and he is in the end zone for the touchdown. So Cleveland, with the score, moves out in front of the Steelers 26-24 with the extra point to count.
And as you mentioned, Johnny Davis brought back after being released early in training camp, later on actually in training camp, a good lead blocker, led Viner through the hole for the go-ahead touchdown.
Here is the extra point attempt by Matt Barr with Gossett holding. And it is good. So the score is Cleveland 27. Pittsburgh 24, and we'll be back with the kickoff in just a moment.
All right, the lead block by Johnny Davis, number 38. He's going to seal the outside, allowing Viner, and another nice block inside. That's number 69, Dan Fike, leading Viner into the end zone. And the reaction from the delegation of owners from the other side of the field.
And the kickoff taken by Sanders, and a flag is down. As Sanders returns to about the 32-yard line, where Felix Wright of the Cleveland Browns was there, along with Herman Fontenot. But the flag will bring it back.
Illegal block in the back, number 50. Return team, first down.
Call on David Little. And it'll be a first down for the Steelers at their own 16-yard line. Now trailing by 3, 27-24, with 8 minutes and 25 seconds left to go in the ball game. Mark Malone has completed 11 of 17. Pretty good percentage, but only for 99 yards. To the 19-yard line, a gain of 3, second down and 7 in penalties. Pittsburgh 7 for 91, Cleveland only 2 for 15. Now let's check the other games in progress. Miami has 7 on the board, so they're not shut out. And look at that, the Raiders coming from behind at Arrowhead Stadium now lead Kansas City 21-17. Jackson around the corner and out of bounds, but a flag is down. He goes to the 25-yard line, but a flag dropped back at the 22. Chris Rockins was there for Cleveland, who took him out of bounds. It'll be holding against the Steelers. They continue to be plagued by penalties. Chuck Sanders will check into the offense for Pittsburgh.
Number 74, offense, still second down.
Holding on Terry Long. The Giants leading St. Louis. Washington still out in front of New Orleans, and Philadelphia continues to shut out Atlanta in the fourth quarter. Cincinnati winning and Houston losing as far as the Central Division is concerned to the AFC. The play action fake. Malone throws. The pass is incomplete. Going to Lewis Lips off to the right side. Frank Minifield was there for the defense. Go ahead.
That last touchdown has really taken the starch out of the crowd here in Pittsburgh at Three Rivers. A quiet crowd right now. The Steelers are going to have to pick themselves up and get the momentum going if they're going to get something going here in the fourth quarter.
Third down and 17. The ball at the 10-yard line. The Steelers deep in their own territory. Down by 3 with 6 in the secondary for the Browns. Sweeney showing motion, a 4-man rush for the Browns. On the screen, it is David Hughes. Hughes fumbles the ball. A scramble for it at the 16-yard line. The Browns say that they have recovered the fumble. The referee said no, the Steelers retain possession. And that means that the kicking team will come in for Pittsburgh.
Now the Steelers seem to be falling apart here in the fourth quarter. 2 back-to-back penalties put them deep in their own territory, and they come back and Hughes with the fumble. This screenplay is set up very well. Look at all the blockers surrounding him, but Hughes disregards some of his blockers and goes the opposite way, running into some traffic, and just simply dropped the football when Ellis grabbed a hold of his legs. They're lucky to get that one back.
Newsom gets it away. He has pressure. And the Browns will stay away from it here as it comes back into Steeler territory. So Cleveland will take over at the Pittsburgh 47-yard line. Dennis Winston was down to down the ball for Pittsburgh. So Cleveland will have another opportunity with excellent field position. Is that David Hughes, the player who is down? I think it is. Yes. So we have an injury timeout that stops the clock with 7 minutes and 12 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. The score, Cleveland 27 and Pittsburgh 24. Now, to give you a recap in case you joined us late, at the end of the first quarter, Cleveland was out in front by a score of 10-0, and they pretty well dominated the first quarter. And then Pittsburgh came on in the second. At halftime, Cleveland led it 17-14. Pittsburgh led at the end of the third 21-20, and now it is Cleveland 27-24. One of the most exciting moments took place after Malone hit Ehrenberg for a Pittsburgh touchdown with 1:13 seconds to go in the first half to go on top 14-10 on the ensuing kickoff. Gerald McNeil for the Browns rambled 100 yards with a kickoff return. That was only 15 seconds later. Cleveland was back on top of that halftime score of 17-14.
It's been a close game, seesaw battle back and forth, and Pittsburgh has had trouble one more time moving offensively. As you said earlier, just one drive getting any points for them, the rest coming on Cleveland Brown turnovers.
Be sure to be with us a week from today for exciting NFL doubleheader action on NBC. We got the Jets at New England, Buffalo at Miami, Kansas City at Cleveland. In the second half of the doubleheader, Denver at San Diego, and Seattle against the Los Angeles Raiders. The Raiders coming from behind right now, leading Kansas City at Arrowhead Stadium. Makes it interesting in the West. Everybody started to count the Raiders out about half an hour ago. First down for Cleveland at the Pittsburgh 48-yard line. Kozar pump fake. He goes deep, has a man. He's there. Diving reception at the 10-yard line by Reggie Langhorne. Langhorne got behind Chris Sheffield. He had 3 full steps on him and 43 yards on the play.
Langhorne made a nice move earlier down the field, and it was set up by a pump fake by Kosar. What he did was he just stuttered a few seconds, then it took back off down the field. And Sheffield is left 4 or 5 yards back. A nice diving catch and a good throw by Bernie Kosar, but that catch an extension for Reggie Langhorne.
At the 7-yard line, first down, goal to go for Cleveland. Cleveland leading by 3, threatening to stretch it to 10. Curtis Dickey to the 6. Where it's second down and goal to go. Brian Hinkle with the tackle. We're moving on the 6-minute mark, time remaining in the ballgame. So Cleveland, of course, wants here to accomplish 2 things. They want to score, but they also want to take as much time as possible. They want to run that clock down at least some.
Right, and 7 points is important here because, as you said, if they go up by 10 at that point, a field goal allows the Steelers to come back and win a touchdown, win the football game.
Second and goal. This time the defense is there as Curtis Dickey may lose a yard back to the 7 where it's third down and goal to go. David Little for Pittsburgh sliding underneath that offensive line.
And Larry Williams, number 70, the offensive guard for Cleveland, stopped up the hole as well, forcing Dickey to run into him, and that caused that play to end. Good penetration by the defensive front of the Steelers.
Eric Williams checks into the defense, as does Keith Gary. Third down, goal to go. Find the remaining back, and Kozar will take a timeout. Now, that is their second timeout. They have only 1 remaining. And we have 4 minutes and 59 seconds left in the game, and that's still a lot of time. The margin is 3. A successful field goal, if they're turned away here, makes the margin 6.
And allows the Steelers to open. That's
yes,
right, a window to come back and win the football game, and they'll really talk the jinx if that happens here.
The jinx, in case you've joined us late, is the fact that this is the 17th year that the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers have met here at Three Rivers Stadium, and Cleveland has never won here at Three Rivers Stadium. And that's spelled, yes, J-I-N-X. There's no question about that.
And they've had some wonderful opportunities to win the football game. Here, another opportunity for them with 5 minutes left in the contest. And inside the 10-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers with an opportunity to go up by 10 points. They can really nail it and throw the jinx out the window for good if they can score here.
In fact, in the last 2 years, the Steelers have won in the last 5 seconds and 9 seconds by field goals by Gary Anderson. So that's what that's the jinx that really bothers you when you get that close. And right now, it could all turn on this one play.
It can, and that all adds to the legend. When you lose in the last 5 seconds of a game and 9 seconds, the jinx keeps coming up, and it's the legend of the loss at Three Rivers Stadium.
Third down, goal to go, 7-yard line. Gozar to throw. As a man there, it is incomplete at the 5. He was going to Reggie Langhorne. The pass was low. Edwards had the coverage. And it will be 4th down, goal to go at the 7-yard line.
And that's the situation we talked about. With a successful field goal here, if they are successful, they'd be up by 6 points, allowing the Steelers to come back with one more drive. Plenty of time, 4:55 left in the 4th quarter.
Field goal attempt of 24 yards by Matt Barr. He has hit from 22 and 39. He has missed from 50. Do you have a fake? No, you go for it here. And he has it. No, he does not have it. It is up to the right from 24 yards away. I mean, that's a chip shot.
And for Matt Barr, it certainly is a chip shot. I mean, he came into this game 7 for 7 in field goals and now missed 2 on the afternoon. And
I just said automatically, you know, it's up. It's good from there. I just expected it. Now, Matt Barr coming into the game, perfect in extra points and perfect in field goals. 7 out of 7, and he is 2 out of 4 here.
And the Barr family was perfect coming in today. His brother Chris for the LA Raiders was perfect in extra points and field goals as well.
So, let's see what Pittsburgh can do now from their own 20-yard line. First down, 4:50, lots of time remaining, and trailing by 3. The pass is complete to Ehrenberg. And Rich goes to the 29. Going to be 2nd down and 1. Ray Ellis with the tackle. Oh, yes, it was. And it is 2nd down and 1 at the 29-yard line. So the crowd will get back into this ball game in a big hurry. Ernest Jackson. Jackson to the 35, has 6 and the first down. And we're moving on the 4-minute mark. Time remaining as Eddie Johnson and Clay Matthews make the tackle. As New England is way out in front of Miami, the Raiders continue to lead Kansas City, and Chicago is shutting out Minnesota. Here, Cleveland leads by 3, 27-24, but the Steelers are on the move. Here's Rich Ehrenberg, and a flag is down at the 37-yard line. Now, in penalties thus far, Pittsburgh 8 for 103, Cleveland 2 for 15. And it will be 10 more against the Steelers. They have now been penalized 9 times for 113 yards. It's as if Pittsburgh is on a self-destruct. Ernest Jackson called for holding.
He got tangled up with Clay Matthews, the linebacker, trying to spring the runner around the corner, and he got caught with his hand on the jersey.
Let's go back to the missed field goal of Matt Barr from 24 yards away. And he goes right and stays right.
Yes, he did. He
never came back.
No, he didn't get that golfer's hook.
Pass over the middle is complete to Jackson at the 30, and he is dropped there. So it's good for 3 yards as Ray Ellis made the hit for the Browns.
The Steelers have not thrown successfully down the field most of the afternoon. They're going to have to do it in this final 3 minutes if they want to get some points on the board.
2nd down and 15. Alone, it is there. It is Sweeney. Sweeney was in a battle with the coverage man. They both looked around, and the pass was right on target. Anford Dixon was battling with him, and they pick up 23 of the first down, and here come the Steelers.
Charlie, if I got lucky like this when I was playing, I'd still be playing for a while. Now, this is, you know, the ball shouldn't have been thrown because, as you said, they were battling downfield, and Dixon just looks back for the football, and Sweeney sneaks inside of him and makes the catch.
And a first down at the Cleveland 45. 2 minutes and 40 seconds, time remaining. Here's Ehrenberg to the 42-yard line. 2nd down and 7.
And that throw earlier on was only Malone's second completion to a wide receiver all afternoon, and they still have quite a few. They still have 24 points on the board, regardless of that.
And all of a sudden, the game has a feel of overtime. Here's Ernest Jackson. And Jackson to the 35-yard line. He may have the first down. Rockets and Dixon with the tackle. They'll stop for the measurement. They'll bring the chains out. And this is at a point in the game with 2:06 and leading by 3, and a field goal attempt that is short and left to the right and doesn't hook back when it should. They're just shy of the first down, as you can see. And the Steelers' offense all of a sudden moving, and they get a reception that they didn't deserve. That if you remember the Cleveland Browns, you keep saying, here it is again.
Yeah,
here it's again.
One more time.
Oh, they're doing it to me.
Barr comes in and misses a chip shot. You get unlucky with the pass down the field where Sweeney comes inside and catches the Malone ball, where that should not have happened. And now you're absolutely right. If you're sitting there in Cleveland, you've got to be thinking, this cannot happen again.
Yes, you're right. And now the 2-minute warning will be given to both benches. And we'll take a timeout with 2 minutes left in regulation time. It's Cleveland 27, Pittsburgh 24. Now, one of the things that you have to remember is that because of some indecision, because a tight end that did not appear, is that Cleveland took 2 timeouts. They have only 1 remaining.
Right, and that's very important because if the Steelers happen to tie the game here with a field goal, or if they go ahead with a touchdown, then Cleveland has to come back and put a drive together with less than 2 minutes to go. And with just 1 timeout remaining, if they need a field goal to tie, they have to save that as the last play of the game so they can get their team on to kick the field goal. And that means that all of their patterns have got to be sideline routes. They can't afford to get a receiver in the middle of the field. And so the 2 timeouts that were wasted earlier on become a very, very important factor here in the fourth quarter.
Now, let's go back to the missed field goal. And this was, I thought it was one of those things that you automatically call. The snap receiver, the ball is down, it's up, it is good. Is that close?
Well, soccer-style kickers usually get that golfer's hook to the inside, and that time the ball just stayed straight on for Barr, and he misses a 24-yard chip shot.
He missed earlier from 50. He also hit from 22 and 39. For the Steelers, Ernest Jackson has rushed for 84 yards, and Ehrenberg has rushed for 79. Meanwhile, Cleveland still leads 27-24. Don't forget that. With 2 minutes to go, it's 3rd down and about 2 inches. There it is, quarterback seat, just to pick up the first down. So still at the 35-yard line, 1st and 10.
All right, now will the Steelers be conservative in their approach to set up Anderson, who's a very successful kicker? Or will they try to go down the field for the touchdown and win it here?
I think they'll be conservative for a little while, maybe pick up another 15 more yards. Like there. That's not very conservative. Throwing to Sweeney inside a double coverage, and it's incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Dixon had the primary coverage on it.
I got to tell you, though, that's a good throw by Malone, though. He split everybody. The problem is he also split Sweeney's hands. But right on target with it. Sweeney should have come up with the catch. Not a conservative thought, although the play calling is a good one. Is short passing, except that Malone fired it between a few linebackers.
Right now, you're looking at a 52-yard field goal attempt, so they'd like to shorten that a little. But I thought they'd try and pick up 10 to 15, then go to the end zone, then try and kick the field goal.
An option.
And the ball is loose, and it is fumbled again, and Cleveland may have it. They do. What in the world were the Steelers doing? Was it a misplay when Malone turned around and up with the ball, or was he running it up?
No, that's the option play. This is not Nebraska versus Oklahoma. This is the Steelers versus the Browns. Let's take a look at it one more time. This is that. He reverses to get the people going the other way, and he's going to option down the line to his running back, but the ball pops out. And Jackson still has an opportunity to save it, but he loses it as well.
And Chris Rockets recovers for the Cleveland Browns.
That's that old lobster plate stuff me too. He turns around, comes down the line, and just pitches it back to a halfback.
I'm still stunned by that.
I'm absolutely stunned by that call. I mean, that's a play. I don't know if the Steelers have run it at all this season, but certainly not one that they've used often if they've ever run it before. And now in a critical situation, you come and you call this. Here you see the running back dives over the top. This is an option down the line. Malone's going to pitch it back or keep it himself, depending on whether the defensive end attacks him or doesn't. The fumble comes out, and the problem with calling a trick play inside of 2 minutes when you need it for the field goal is that your personnel is not used to performing it in game situations. I don't care how many times you run it in practice. You never call a play like that in a critical situation that you have not run very often. And they were checking the replay.
Well, we knew that it was. I don't know what they were checking. It seemed rather obvious to us. Right there, Tip Fogarty, Mike McGinley, and George Jordan, our two spotters and statistician, that have been battling the jinx on both sides. Excellent job, gentlemen. Thank you very much. And Cleveland now with a first down at their own 29-yard line, a minute 30. Steelers still with 3 timeouts remaining. Biner to the 31-yard line. The Steelers will stop the clock now. Jerry Dunn makes the tackle. That is their first timeout, so they've got 2 left. So they can call one. If they can stop Cleveland the next 2 opportunities, they can get the ball one more time. We'll be back in just a moment. It's Cleveland 27 with the ball. Pittsburgh 24. 1 minute, 25 seconds. Time remaining in the game as the Browns go for the win and the jinx at the same time. Ozar to throw. As a man, and he is there. Does not want to go out of bounds. Reggie Langhorne to the 32-yard line of Pittsburgh. Dave Edwards brings him down, and that's a great call for the Browns because
it worked.
The Steelers
that's
were not
why.
looking for it. 38 yards.
Yeah, it's a great call because it worked, but I don't know about
like
this.
You don't like
well, we talked about them being conservative, and they turn around here and play when it's less than 2 minutes left, and they throw the ball downfield. It worked for them, so it's a good call, but I don't agree with it. No, I think you try to grind it out in this situation. Try to get it going and eat some of the clock up. They're lucky he makes a good play of not going out of bounds.
Yes, but if they grind it twice and don't pick up the first down, they got the 2 timeouts, they got a kick. Now at least Cleveland can control. Now they're going to fall on the ball.
That's a good point.
And the Steelers stop the clock now with 31 seconds. That is their second timeout.
Well, it was certainly a gutsy call, though, in that respect, and it worked, and so it's a fine
like
call.
You said, it's a good call when it worked. That's a good point.
Right, but if that ball had been intercepted, I think you would have heard some screaming from that man.
But it was almost as if the holiday season arrived early, because I still don't understand the call of the Steelers.
No, I don't either.
31 seconds. That is the time remaining here at Three Rivers Stadium. The 112th straight home sellout for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for the Cleveland Browns trying to break the jinx. We have perhaps belabored a little bit in the ballgame, but they've never won here before. Right now that they're leading 27-24 with 31 seconds to go. And the Steelers have only 1 timeout remaining.
I think the Steeler bench can't believe it. There's Rich Ehrenberg, number 24, down the end. I don't think he can believe it at all. It's a stunned crowd here at Three Rivers.
Well, I was gearing up for overtime. And the Steelers now take their last timeout with 28 seconds. That means when the ball is snapped, all that Cleveland has to do is fall on it and then let the 30-second clock run out. And Cleveland's record will be 3-2. And they will stay at least in a tie as Cincinnati at last report out in front of Green Bay. So Cleveland and Cincinnati would have identical 3-2 records. Pittsburgh would be 1-4, and Houston is 1-3, depending their outcome of their game at Detroit.
The Steelers off to their worst start in 15 seasons.
Since the first year of this man, Chuck Noll.
And a lot of heat has come down on a number of people, and it's difficult to criticize Chuck Noll, though, of what he's done here. The only coach to ever win 4 Super Bowls. And if there's a coach, well, you look at Don Shula in Miami now, his team will, in all probability, go to 1-4 as well. Who would ever think that the 2 powerhouse teams of the 70s, here in the middle of the 80s, would turn around and have this type of a start with those men, Chuck Noll and Don Shula, at the helm?
You're absolutely right.
But if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you got to look and say, you've got to have enough faith in Noll to realize that he has a good enough coach to turn it around for them. If not this season, then in future years, although he's not going to write this season off yet.
Not in the Central Division, because it's going to stay reasonably close. And there it is, taking the countdown of the last 16 seconds
Final score.
to make it official. The Cleveland Browns 27, the Pittsburgh Steelers 24. And the jinx has been broken. So maybe all that Art Modell needed to do was to fly in on the day of the game, and that's just the last change that they made.
How do you think he's going to get here next year? And they're going to stay in the same hotel?
Oh, they're going to do everything exactly the same next year. Marty Schottenheimer, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. And Cleveland's record is 3-2. And the MVP, the man who had, in one way, turned the game around with that 100-yard touchdown return, Gerald McNeil. The Budweiser most valuable player, and Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the most valuable players selected this season. And there he goes, 100 yards. And there's a look at him, and not moving quite as fast.
No, he's not, with Walter Abercrombie, who, of course, missed a good part of this football game with the Charlie horse sustained in the first half.
And they both played their collegiate ball at Baylor.
They did.
Yes.
Old friends. I think the Steelers were probably hurt some by Abercrombie being out. Ehrenberg played a fine football game, but they were unable to utilize his ability to run with the football, then bring Ehrenberg in for the short passing game.
The situation when Gerald McNeil went 100 yards, Malone had just thrown to Ehrenberg the touchdown pass with 1:13 to go in the first half. And Pittsburgh had gone on top for the first time in the ballgame, 14-10. And then on the ensuing kickoff, then this man went 100 yards, and 15 seconds later, Cleveland was back on top. So it's been an interesting game, and a lot of plays that could have changed it in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I think back to the penalty that went against the Pittsburgh Steelers when Barr went to kick the field goal and missed, and then the call against Edwards for running into the kicker, which was a judgment call, but questionable by some standpoints.
Final again, Cleveland 27, Pittsburgh 24. Stay tuned for the